When he came to the Fusang tree, Han Ju noticed that Murong Chi had returned. He sat under the tree and thought hard. When he came to the Fusang tree, Han Ju noticed that Murong Chi had returned. He sat under the tree and thought hard. The black hell chicken was napping on a tree and cultivating during the winter. Sun Chang'an sat at the edge of the cliff and looked at the sky. It was unknown what he was thinking, but his back was covered with the aura of worry. Han Ju looked up. There were still 3 suns in the sky. The 2 little golden crows couldn't enter but were unwilling to leave. They were truly persistent. When Murong Chi saw him walking over, he hurriedly stood up and bowed. Han Ju nodded slightly. Murong Chi came up and asked nervously, "Grandmaster, can I ask you for guidance?" "What is it?" "Of all the Taoists in the world, which is the strongest?" "The Tao of the sword." "There's no strongest Tao, only the strongest martial cultivator." "Grandmaster, I feel like I'm not suited for the Tao of the sword." Murong Chi looked worried. Recently, he often went out on missions. He discovered that his combat ability could not be compared to the legendary prodigies. He even felt that he was mediocre. Han Ju asked calmly, "Then, what Tao do you think you are suitable for?" "I'm not sure." "Then go and learn. There are various spells in the Jade Pure sect. When you find one that suits you, come to me. I'll guide you personally." "Thank you, Grandmaster." Murong Chi was pleasantly surprised. He quickly bowed and left. Han Ju looked at the Fusang tree. The tree was already very tall. The earth immortal gourd vine on the tree was also not bad, but he didn't know when it would blossom. After watching for a while, Han Ju returned to the cave abode and started cultivating the 9th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. A year later. In the huge, spacious prison hall, tens of thousands of righteous cultivators were still cultivating. The hall was filled with a demonic aura that constantly ate away at their spirit energy. The cultivators could only cultivate and resist tenaciously. They were suffering. Xing Hongxian and Fairy Shi Xian were also cultivating. Most of the time, the cultivators didn't communicate, as if they were in seclusion. Boom! The door to the hall suddenly opened and a burly figure appeared. It was none other than Fiendish Arhat. Fiendish Arhat swept his gaze across the cultivators in the hall and slowly said, "You still have half a year. If you're willing to join the demonic path, you can report to the fiendish cultivators outside the hall at any time. In half a year, the devil welcoming ceremony will begin. Anyone unwilling to surrender will become a sacrifice for the true devil." With that, he turned around. "Wait. I'm willing to become a fiendish cultivator." A middle-aged man shouted and stood up. The surrounding cultivators looked at him angrily. One of them drew his sword and wanted to kill him. A stream of demonic chi appeared out of nowhere and blocked the sword before wrapping around the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was pleasantly surprised. The other cultivators were unable to restrain themselves when they saw this. "I'm also willing to join the demonic path." "Me, too. Senior, please protect us. I don't want to die." "Sorry, everyone. Fellow Taoists, we've tried our best. We really can't resist." More and more cultivators stood up. The disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect were also restless. Taoist 9 Cauldrons said in a deep voice, "The disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect can only die fair and square. We can't submit to the demons." Upon hearing this, the disciples looked at each other. In the end, none of them stood up. Xing Hongxian called into her storage ring, but Han Ju didn't answer. She could only sigh. In the current situation, Han Ju couldn't help them. Even if he came personally, he couldn't cross mountains and seas in a short period of time. It had taken them decades to reach this place. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm. 5 months later. Murong-chi visited Han-ju and said that he had found a suitable dao for himself. Han-ju walked out of the cave abode and brought him to sit under the fusang tree. Dao Comprehension Sword also joined in the fun. The black hell chicken opened its eyes and looked at them curiously. Grandmaster, I think that the weapon of my Dao is a spear, or a long weapon. However, cultivators rarely use long weapons. Long weapons are more suitable for battles in the mortal world. Han-ju wasn't surprised. He was indeed the war god of the divine palace. Most of the war gods used long weapons, both in myths and in the mortal world. Han-ju waved his hand and cut off a branch of the fusang tree. He used his spirit energy to cut it into a wooden spear and handed it to Murong-chi, saying, "From now on, this is your spear." After catching it, Murong-chi was stunned. He did not mind, but he was very surprised. The fusang tree was Han-ju's most precious treasure. It even attracted 2 sons. This tree was definitely divine. Han-ju actually cut off a branch for him. No one else had such treatment. Murong-chi's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 5 stars, Grandmaster, this. Murong-chi hesitated. Sun Chang'an hurriedly said, "Master, you can't do that." Han-ju glared at him and said, "Are you going to help me reattach the branch now?" Sun Chang'an was embarrassed and could only give up. "Today, I will preach the true meaning of heaven and earth to you guys. Let's see if you can comprehend your own mystical power or Dao technique." Han-ju continued speaking as Yang Tiandong quickly sat down. A Mahayana cultivator was giving them a lesson. Such treatment was not something even the elites of the heavenly immortal manor had. Han-ju began to speak. His voice was unfathomable, causing Murong-chi and the others to quickly enter a state of comprehension and contemplation. They didn't hear what he said clearly, but Han-ju's voice had such a force that could allow them to enter a meditative state quickly and even increase their comprehension. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm boom, the doors of the hall opened and fiendish cultivators rushed in. The voice of fiendish Arhat rang out, "Send them to the devil welcoming sacrificial altar. Kill anyone who resists." The righteous cultivators panicked. Huang Jihao was the first to stand up. He coldly snorted. "I want to see if you can laugh until the end." He was the first to step out, not allowing the fiendish cultivators to touch him. The others stood up. Taoist 9 Cauldrons, Xing Hongxian, and Fairy Shi Xian did the same. Taoist 9 Cauldrons laughed as he walked. The disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect are all good. His words wiped away the fear of the disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Everyone felt their blood boiling. Death was nothing to fear. Xing Hongxian noticed that many of the surrounding fiendish cultivators were cultivators from the righteous path who had previously surrendered. She couldn't help but look down on them. She sighed. "Husband, will be husband and wife in the next life." "Your husband is Elder Han?" Fairy Shi Xian asked. Xing Hongxian also lived on the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal mountain, but the two of them did not have much interaction. Xing Hongxian replied, "Yes. There might be no hope in the next life. When you reincarnate, he might have already become an immortal." Xing Hongxian felt depressed. Fairy Shi Xian's lips curled up slightly. Her smile was very subtle. Guan Yugang walked over and said, "Junior, before I die, I have something to say that I've been holding back for a long time." "Not listening." "Senior brother, if fate comes in the next life, I'll be your senior sister. I'll protect you and return the care you've shown me in this life." This content is taken from Light Novel World. Calm. At this moment, nearly 20,000 righteous cultivators walked out of the hall. After walking out of the hall, Xing Hongxian saw many righteous cultivators being escorted out of the nearby palaces. After walking out of the hall, Xing Hongxian saw many righteous cultivators being escorted out of the nearby palaces. It was hard to imagine how many righteous cultivators the Fiend Emperor had captured. Is there really no hope? Where is the heavenly immortal manor? Where are the holy lands? A female disciple's voice came from the side, her tone filled with indignation. Before they had been caught, they had thought that victory was near. Unexpectedly, the nightmare had just begun. Taoist 9 Cauldrons looked around, secretly shocked. Why were there so many fiendish cultivators? How did the righteous cultivators quickly become fiendish cultivators? Logically speaking, the transformation of spirit energy into demonic chi required a cultivation process. How could it be possible to disperse one's cultivation and cultivate again in a short period of time? The ground was flat and there were dozens of huge palaces scattered around. There were bonfires everywhere, and the number of fiendish cultivators was immeasurable. Demonic chi formed rolling dark clouds that covered the sky as if it was evening. From high up in the sky, the palaces formed a huge circle. All the doors faced the same direction. It was a huge altar 10,000 feet long and wide. It was completely pale and seemed to be made of white bones. It was eerie. Devil-welcoming sacrificial altar. A circle of fiendish cultivators stood around the altar. All of them wore black robes, looking like ghosts from the underworld. Boom! The dark clouds above the altar surged violently, forming a terrifying vortex. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. In the distance, on a small mountain, Su Qi and the chaotic heavenly dog were sprawled behind a rock, looking over. So many fiendish cultivators. Are we really going to fight? The chaotic heavenly dog asked with a shiver. It had finally escaped the Fiend Emperor's grasp, so it did not want to take any more risks. Su Qi said seriously, "Our hearts belong to the righteous path, so how can we be afraid? If the Fiend Emperor's plan succeeds today and the world is in trouble, then our master can forget about cultivating in peace. At that time, when we look back, they might have just been lacking our help." The chaotic heavenly dog wore a bitter look. This kid was too righteous. He suddenly missed Ji Xianxian. The source of this content is Light Novel World. How great would it be if that fellow came? On the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal Mountain. After Han Ju finished his lecture, the disciples were still in a state of enlightenment and couldn't come back to their senses for a long time. At this moment, Li Qingzi rushed over and came to Han Ju's side. He glanced at Murong Qi, Dao Comprehension Sword, and the others and said in a low voice, "Elder Han, Sect Master, and the rest have been captured. What should we do?" The distance was too great, causing his news to be delayed by more than a year. Han Ju replied, "Just wait." He wanted to say that they would be fine, but what if something happened? He couldn't guarantee such a thing. I don't know what happened to those holy lands. They all disappeared. Damn it! Li Qingzi gritted his teeth. He felt that there was a conspiracy behind this. Han Ju said, "They might be in trouble, too." These words were true. Previously, when he had read the emails, he had discovered that the heavenly immortal manors Ji Xianxian, Ji Lingchan, and Ji Kong had been attacked by fiendish cultivators. The number of times they had been attacked far exceeded that of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. It looked like they were being held back. Li Qingzi sighed and left. Han Ju's expression did not change. In fact, he was using the heavenly puppet to observe the situation in the demonic path Imperial City. He was waiting for someone. Fiend Emperor Ji Naiha. As long as he killed Ji Naiha, the demonic path would naturally collapse. Before long, the cultivators of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect were escorted to the devil-welcoming sacrificial altar. They had been imprisoned for so long that they had lost their ability to fight due to the demonic chi. They could only look at the surrounding fiendish cultivators with hatred. For more, visit Light Novel World. This is the devil welcoming ceremony. What's in the sky? Are they really summoning a devil? Legend has it that the devils were once the strongest race before the rise of humans and demons. Damn it, I can't use the spirit energy in my body. Where is the Fiend Emperor? The cultivators discussed animatedly. Panic, nervousness, and uneasiness spread throughout the altar. More and more cultivators were brought up to the altar. Fiendish Arhat stood beside the altar and chanted with his eyes closed. Some cultivators wanted to resist, but they were struck down by the fiendish cultivator. Their meridians were crippled and they were thrown onto the altar. They wailed incessantly and were extremely miserable. Huang Jihao arrived in front of Daoist 9 Cauldrons and asked softly, "Is your sex deity slaying elder here?" In his heart, Han Ju was the strongest cultivator. If he came, there might be a chance of survival. Daoist 9 Cauldrons shook his head. He was glad that Han Ju didn't come. If he did, the Jade Pure Sacred Sect would be completely wiped out. A look of regret appeared on Huang Jihao's face. Boom! Blood chi surged above the altar as a figure appeared above it. It was Patriarch Blood Fiend. He looked down at the altar and nodded. He directly released his own terrifying pressure, enveloping the great earth, making all of the cultivators on the altar feel as if their chests were struck by a hammer, extremely uncomfortable. When all the cultivators reached the altar, other than the fiendish cultivators guarding it, all the other fiendish cultivators knelt down and worshipped the altar. Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience. The world fell silent. There were more than 100,000 righteous path cultivators on the altar. None of them dared to make a sound as they looked nervously at the sky. What was happening next? "Welcome, Fiend Emperor!" Patriarch Blood Fiend shouted. The hundreds of thousands of fiendish cultivators shouted in unison. "Welcome, Your Majesty! Welcome, Your Majesty! Welcome, Your Majesty!" The fiendish cultivators shouted in unison. Their voices gathered together, deafening. Every fiendish cultivator's face was filled with fanaticism. A figure appeared in the vortex. It was Fiend Emperor Ji Naiha. He raised his arms and said, "Inheritors of the demonic path." All the fiendish cultivators shut their mouths and stared at him. The righteous cultivators were even more nervous, not knowing what would happen next. When the world was first created, everything was chaotic. There were devils first, then gods, and then humans were born. Immortals and demons later appeared. They sought to be free from the constraints of the heavenly Tao, to become eternal and indestructible. They did as they pleased, seeking revenge as they willed. Ji Naiha's voice was filled with vicissitudes as he led the fiendish cultivators back to the distant past. Far away on the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal mountain, Han Ju also heard his words through the heavenly puppet. He secretly wondered if this was a demonic path pyramid scheme. Han Ju didn't make a move immediately. Ji Naiha was high up in the sky, it was not the best time to make a move. At this moment, Murong Qi, the Black Hell Chicken, Sun Chang'an, Yang Tiandong, and Tao Comprehension Sword had all awakened. "Grandmaster, should we pursue lifespan or spirit energy?" Murong Qi asked. Han Ju replied, "All living beings have ambitions. My goal is to live. If you outlive everyone else, you will be the strongest existence." Yang Tiandong asked, "There are heavenly rules in the heavenly Tao. The cycle of life and death is a heavenly rule. After becoming an immortal, will we jump out of the cycle of life and death?" Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience. He had already given up on his ambitions and only wanted to pursue the great Tao of longevity. Immortals and deities are only stronger than mortals. True immortality is far away. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many reincarnations of immortals and deities in the legends. It's precisely because the apex of the great Tao is far away that we have to cherish the present. Today, if we cultivate less by a few minutes, after 1,000 years, how much time would we have wasted? 10,000 years? 1,000,000 years? Han Ju said slowly. He was distracted by the other event, but in the eyes of the disciples, he was unfathomable and had seen through the mortal world. Master, what realm are you in now? When can you reach the Mahayana realm? Yang Tiandong asked curiously. Master, what realm are you in now? When can you reach the Mahayana realm? Yang Tiandong asked curiously. Although they were all very talented, they knew very well. In terms of talent, they were inferior to Han Ju. Li Qingzi lived halfway up the mountain. Occasionally, when he chatted with them, they would mention Han Ju. He saw Han Ju become stronger step by step. Han Ju said calmly, I'm already at Mahayana. Murong Chi, Dao Comprehension Sword, Sun Chang'an, and the Black Hell Chicken all widened their eyes. Mahayana realm. The highest realm in the mortal world. When everyone was shocked, Han Ju narrowed his eyes. His chance was here. On the other side, just as the Fiend Emperor was excitedly recounting the origins of the devils, a terrifying aura erupted from the horizon. Thunder rumbled and all the cultivators turned to look. They saw countless bolts of lightning forming a terrifying wall of lightning that stretched as far as the sky and earth. Amidst the sky filled with lightning, Ji Xianchen stepped forward. His green clothes fluttered. An excited smile appeared on his face. He glared at Ji Naihe and laughed. Fiend Emperor. This time, I must kill you. His appearance excited all the cultivators on the altar. After so many years of war between the righteous and the demonic, Ji Xianchen had relied on his powerful strength to become famous in the world. In their eyes, he was the number one in the world. The arrival of Ji Xianchen represented the arrival of the heavenly immortal manner. Ji Naihe frowned as he looked over. Patriarch Blood Fiend and Fiendish Arhat also turned to look. They were all very wary of Ji Xianchen. This person was too powerful. Su Qi and the chaotic heavenly dog followed behind Ji Xianchen. The chaotic heavenly dog said excitedly, has this fellow become stronger again? Su Qi looked at Ji Xianchen's back, his eyes filled with shock. What sort of cultivation was this? To face the entire fiendish way alone, even if there were 10 million people, he would still have to face them. At the same time, Xing Hongxian heard a voice, take out the heavenly puppet. Hearing this, Xing Hongxian was stunned. Upon hearing Han Ju's voice, she immediately took out the heavenly puppet. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better experience. Beside her, Fairy Shi Xian caught a glimpse of the heavenly puppet. A strange look appeared in her eyes. The others looked at Ji Xianchen in the sky. No one noticed the appearance of the heavenly puppet. Under the gazes of the two women, the heavenly puppet raised its right hand and pointed its index finger at the sky. On cultivate diligently become immortal mountain, under the Fusang tree. Murong Chi asked excitedly, Grandmaster, you've already reached the Mahayana realm. When will you ascend? What constitutes Mahayana? How strong is a Mahayana cultivator? Han Ju stood up, and the others followed. Han Ju raised his right hand and raised his index finger. He pointed to the sky and looked down. A terrifying aura erupted. What constitutes Mahayana? The Mahayana realm is where the distance no longer matters. All I need is one finger to slay the enemy. Mahayana means that I'm invincible in this world. Han Ju said with a high-spirited smile. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly erupted with 6 paths spirit energy. Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. Sword light flashed, and the world was as bright as day. Under the shocked expressions of Murong Chi and the others, a terrifying sword chi shot out from Han Ju's index finger. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared to the end of the world. The wind that stirred up caused the mountain forest to shake violently. This scene shocked them, especially Murong Chi. The attitude that Han Ju displayed now was what he wanted to pursue. Invincibility. Under the billowing dark clouds, Ji Naihe stared at the oncoming Ji Xianxian with a frown. He was furious. What's wrong with the others? They actually released this fellow. Killing intent flashed across Ji Naihe's eyes. Since that was the case, he would kill the number one genius of the heavenly immortal manner. Ji Xianxian was also filled with killing intent. Other than that, there was also excitement. If he could kill the Fiend Emperor in front of the righteous and demonic paths, he would be the number one in the world. The number one in the world who saved all life. Boom, a terrifying sound came from behind, startling Ji Xianxian so much that he instinctively turned his head. However, before he could even turn his head, the sword light illuminated his face. From the corner of his eye, he saw a terrifying sword chi. Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience. He had never encountered such a terrifying sword chi. Too fast. It was so fast that Ji Xianxian didn't even have time to react. Ji Naihe's feelings were even stronger than his. He only felt a sword aura appear from behind Ji Xianxian. It pierced through his thousands of thunderbolts and headed straight for him. He had no time to think and instinctively wanted to dodge. What a pity. It was too late. He couldn't block it. Ji Naihe widened his eyes. The sword light shone on his face. At that moment, his mind went blank. He didn't think of anything. He still had the intention to kill Ji Xianxian. Until he was drowned by the sword chi, his body and soul completely destroyed. On the ground, all the fiendish cultivators and righteous cultivators also did not react. They only saw a sword chi appear out of nowhere. It tore through the sky in the endless dark clouds, directly crashing into the Fiend Emperor. There was no deafening explosion, nor was there an explosion that shook the world. When the sword chi dissipated, the Fiend Emperor was nowhere to be seen. Patriarch Blood Fiend and Fiendish Arhat widened their eyes in shock. Ji Xianxian also stopped, stunned. He subconsciously turned around. There was no one else in the sky behind him, but there was someone on the ground, a man and a dog. Who moved? Ji Xianxian trembled. Impossible. Was that an immortal? Mortals can't possess such power. How terrifying. Ji Xianxian had never felt such terror. Even when he faced Guan Yu at the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal Mountain, he did not feel this fearful. Apart from Guan Yu, who else was stronger? The world was silent. Only the thundercloud under Ji Xianxian's feet continued to rumble. The source of this content is Light Novel World. Everyone fell into silence, unable to believe what had just happened. After a long while, Huang Jihao couldn't help but ask, "The Fiend Emperor is dead." His voice broke the silence. Boom, the devil-welcoming sacrificial altar exploded into a commotion. All the cultivators cheered. Xing Hongxian and Fairy Shi Xian stared at the puppet. Taoist Nine Cauldrons, Guan Yu Gang, and Lu Bummy happened to catch a glimpse of the heavenly puppet which was still pointing at the Fiend Emperor. Han Ju could hit Ji Naihe because the heavenly puppet was responsible for aiming. Could it be? Taoist Nine Cauldrons and the other two thought of a terrifying possibility. The heavenly puppet looked very much like a certain person. On the Immortal Mountain, Han Ju retracted his hand. The Fusang tree was still swaying in the wind. Leaves flew everywhere. Dao Comprehension Sword looked at his back view in fascination. Sun Chang'an and Yang Tiandong were also full of admiration. The Black Hell Chicken's eyes widened comically. Murong Chi clenched his fists and asked excitedly, "Grandmaster, what mystical power is this?" Han Ju glanced at him and said, "Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger, do you want to learn it?" "Yes. I thought you didn't like swords. I can try to modify it into a spear technique. It's too domineering." Smiling, Han Ju walked back to the Fusang tree and sat down. The others followed. peace returned to the world. Murong Chi and the rest thought that Hanju was only showing them the power of the Mahayana realm. They didn't know that his finger just now had saved all the lives in the world. Hanju was not excited. He only heaved a sigh of relief. Is the righteous path finally stable now? Follow current novels on Light Novel World. Calm. After killing Ji Naiha, Hanju felt as if a rock had been removed from his heart. He explained to his disciples and grand-disciples while paying attention to the situation in the demonic path Imperial City. After killing Ji Naiha, Hanju felt as if a rock had been removed from his heart. He explained to his disciples and grand-disciples while paying attention to the situation in the demonic path Imperial City. With his death, Patriarch Blood Fiend and Fiendish Arhat nearly died of fright. They immediately fled. Ji Naiha's strength was not much different from theirs. They didn't even see how he died, which meant that the person who had attacked was far stronger than them. They didn't dare to stay. Having his kill stolen, Ji Xianchen was furious and began slaughtering fiendish cultivators to vent his anger. The ceremony was thus halted. The righteous cultivators were saved. Under Hanju's instructions, Xing Hongxian put the heavenly puppet back into her storage ring. The cheers resounded throughout the dark land. Oh my God, what happened? The mighty figure has attacked. He actually directly killed the Fiend Emperor. Was it Ji Xianchen? Definitely not. Even Ji Xianchen was frightened just now. Who was it? Isn't the Fiend Emperor a Mahayana cultivator? Could it be an immortal? The heavens is blessing my righteous path. Su Qi and the chaotic heavenly dog were stunned. They were still in a state of shock. The sword aura that had just streaked past their heads was like a miracle. Su Qi was excited. He clenched his fists and cheered. It must be Master. Upon hearing that, the chaotic heavenly dog was stunned. It asked in surprise, Master killed the Fiend Emperor? Su Qi nodded. It must be him. He has been secretly protecting me, or I would have died long ago. The chaotic heavenly dog couldn't help but feel depressed. Why didn't Master protect me? It still did not believe it. Hurry up, I want to go back to the Great Yen. Seeing that Ji Xianchen was still slaughtering everyone, Su Qi felt that this was a good opportunity. After saying this, he turned around and left. The chaotic heavenly dog hurriedly followed. It also did not want to be Ji Xianchen's mount. On the other side, Hanju had been observing the battle through the heavenly puppet, ensuring that nothing happened to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. The death of the Fiend Emperor had dealt a heavy blow to the morale of the fiendish cultivators. They couldn't be bothered with the cultivators on the altar. The fiendish cultivators fled, but Ji Xianchen continued to pursue. After returning to the cave abode, Hanju sat on the bed. To celebrate the victory of the righteous path, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing Vermilion Bird and Daoist Jian. Half a month each, with double the satisfaction. After the curse ended, Hanju continued to cultivate the 9th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. After the Fiend Emperor died, the world should be peaceful soon, and Hanju could cultivate in peace. He had already told Xing Hongxian through the heavenly puppet that Daoist 9 cauldrons should return soon. In less than a year, the death of the Fiend Emperor shocked the entire world. The demonic aura dissipated just as Hanju had guessed. Legends of the immortals began to spread, mainly because the Fiend Emperor had died too pathetically. He was insta-killed by a mysterious sword chi. The process was dramatic. Who the immortals were and which sect they came from became the greatest topic in the world. Many storytellers even fabricated all sorts of legends. In a dark space filled with thick fog, Xian Qingjun knelt in the mist. A cold voice sounded, Ji Naiha is dead. Don't you know who killed him? Xian Qingjun took a deep breath and said, at that time, the 2 Mahayana cultivators present said that the other party didn't appear. I suspect that it was an immortal. It's not the first time that an immortal has descended into the mortal world. There was silence as the cold voice stopped. After a while, Xian Qingjun asked, "Is the devil race's plan to enter the mortal realm going to continue?" Previously, the ritual had already begun. The providence of the devil race is near the mortal realm. This matter has probably alerted the immortal world. If this continues, I'm afraid. Humph, continue. Let the devil master continue it. There are true devils in the mortal world. I've already sent the devil master to find that true devil. As for you, ascend as soon as possible. Yes. Xian Qingjun lowered her head as she answered, light flickering in her eyes. This content is taken from Light Novel World. Calm. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Han Ju finally mastered the 9th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. He didn't comprehend any new mystical power, but his cultivation speed increased. From now on, he could absorb the essence of the sun and moon and absorb the 9 nether spirit chi of the netherworld. At the same time, he was still a distance away from the 2nd level of the Mahayana realm. Han Ju decided to go to the netherworld to take a look. He didn't dare to go personally. He first created a heavenly puppet and let it test the waters. If he reached the perfected Mahayana realm and had to ascend, he could still go to the netherworld to seek refuge. Half a month later, Han Ju successfully created a heavenly puppet. He cast a spell on it as a black aura appeared on the ground in front of the bed, and a stone door embedded with strange patterns rose. Door of Reincarnation. This was a mystical power that came with the cultivation technique of the 8th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. It could allow one to step into the netherworld and absorb souls, throwing them into the 6 paths of reincarnation. Dao Comprehension Sword's beautiful eyes widened in curiosity. She didn't dare say a word and could only watch quietly. Han Ju controlled the heavenly puppet to enter the door of reincarnation. He then closed his eyes and focused on the puppet. After entering the door of reincarnation, the heavenly puppet was engulfed in black mist and could not be seen. Han Ju carefully advanced. This was his first time exploring the netherworld. There was no sunlight here, and it was extremely dark. As he walked, Han Ju felt water flowing under his feet. This made him even more nervous. He spread out his divine sense and discovered that there was nothing around him. There was indeed water beneath his feet. This water was very strange. When his divine sense touched it, it immediately dissipated. Water that could melt divine sense. Could it be the legendary netherworld water? After a while, light finally appeared in front of him. Han Ju saw a bridge in the fog. Above the water, he couldn't see the other end of the bridge. At the end of the bridge, an old woman appeared out of thin air. She took the bowl from her hand and drank it in one gulp. Then, she stepped onto the bridge and disappeared into the mist. The Bridge of Forgetfulness. The source of this content is Light Novel World. Mengpa. Han Ju was curious. Wary, he turned and headed in another direction. He wasn't reincarnated, so why did he have to go to the Bridge of Forgetfulness? Mengpa might be a powerful being of the netherworld. He couldn't underestimate her. Before the cycle of life and death, you still want to go back. An ancient voice entered Han Ju's ears. When he heard it, he immediately sped up and disappeared into the fog. Not long after, a terrifying pressure suddenly descended, causing him to fall into the water. Han Ju immediately made the heavenly puppet self-destruct to prevent the netherworld mighty figure from following the heavenly puppet to find his true body. Boom! Inside the cave abode, Han Ju opened his eyes and immediately retracted the door of reincarnation. Cold sweat broke out on his back. The pressure just now was too strong. One had to know that the heavenly puppet had Mahayana realm cultivation, yet it was actually crushed to the ground by the pressure. I can't enter the netherworld carelessly. Han Ju thought fearfully. Is the door of reincarnation connected to a random spot in the netherworld? Hanju shook his head. He didn't dare to try again. He had to be careful. If the other party followed the heavenly puppet and locked onto his true self, would they be able to kill him? It was not impossible. After all, to the netherworld, he was an anomaly. Master, what is it? Dao Comprehension Sword asked. Hanju shook his head and was about to answer when he suddenly felt the temperature rise. It was so hot in the cave abode. Wait. Could it be? Hanju thought of a possibility and immediately disappeared from the bed. This content is taken from Light Novel World. Calm. After arriving outside the cave abode, Hanju looked up. The sun formed by the two little golden crows grew larger and larger. After arriving outside the cave abode, Hanju looked up. The sun formed by the two little golden crows grew larger and larger. Are they going to descend into the mortal world? Hanju frowned. Yang Tiandong, Sun Chang'an, Morong Chi, and the Black Hell Chicken were all extremely nervous. Especially the Black Hell Chicken, because it was the one who caused this disaster. The thought of the legendary Golden Crow descending into the mortal world terrified it. Dao Comprehension Sword followed Hanju out of the cave abode. She looked up and asked in surprise, the two suns are about to fall. They were not the only ones. The disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect also sensed that something was amiss. More and more people flew into the sky and pointed at the three suns. Hanju hesitated. Should he shoot a finger at the two little golden crows and scare them away? Sensing that the temperature was rising, he felt that he could not wait any longer. He immediately jumped up and quickly reached the top. He looked up and saw two huge fire ravens ramming into the sky. The true sun flame on their bodies grew stronger. The golden crow was shaped like a fire crow. It had 3 legs and a wingspan of 10 miles. It was very domineering, and one could not tell that it was still young. Cracks had already appeared in the sky, and the two 3-legged golden crows were about to charge in. At this moment, a line of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju. Detected bearer of Connate Providence, check its origin. Connate Providence. Hanju immediately chose to check. Divine Golden Crow, 7th level of the Mahayana realm. Currently in its infancy stage, it was abandoned by the Golden Crow Divine Clan due to its potential. It sensed the aura of the Fusang tree and rushed to the mortal world in order to become stronger. Due to the interference of the heavenly Tao's providence by the devil race, the two golden crows found an opportunity to forcefully enter the mortal world. 2 identical messages appeared in front of Hanju. Abandoned by the Golden Crow Divine Clan. Hanju caught the important information. Since they were abandoned, would Hanju offend the Golden Crow Divine Clan by killing them? Not necessarily. A clan like this definitely cared about their face. If they knew that these two had been killed by mortals, how could they not be angry? Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Hanju thought silently. A Taoist appeared not far away. Shocked, he screamed, 3-legged golden crows. Oh no! He was so shocked that he vanished on the spot. Hanju was confused. Was this person here to be funny? Boom! The heavenly wall shattered like glass. The two golden crows immediately rushed towards Hanju, or more accurately, towards the ground. Hanju shot 2 fingers towards the sky. Sword Chi sword into the sky. Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. The bodies of the 2 little golden crows were penetrated, and they let out a cry. The true sun flame on their bodies immediately dissipated. If not for the golden crow bloodline, they would have died on the spot. Hanju waved his hand and used his mystical power, universe in the sleeves, to suck them into his sleeve. Even Xian Qingjun, who was at the 8th level of the Mahayana realm, would be instantly killed by him, let alone the little golden crows, who were at the 7th level. Although the little golden crows were from the divine clan, they were still young. Han Ju was about to leave when a figure rushed over. It was Ji Xianxian. What about the 2 sons? Ji Xianxian asked curiously. He was not surprised to see Han Ju. Han Ju said calmly, they left. The heavenly wall quickly recovered, as if it had not been broken. Han Ju was curious. What was outside? If the little golden crows could barge in, would the other immortal gods be the same? He suddenly felt uncomfortable. The mortal world was not necessarily safe. Ji Xianxian came in front of Han Ju and carefully sized him up. His eyes burned as he said, "Are you the one who killed the fiend emperor? I clearly felt the sword chi just now." If it was really Han Ju, he would feel better. He finally accepted that someone was stronger than him. He didn't want 2 people to be stronger than him. Han Ju nodded and said, "This matter cannot be spread. You will still remain as the #1 cultivator in the world." Ji Xianxian frowned and asked, "Why? Do you not cultivate for fame?" "I cultivate for longevity. The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World." Calm hearing his reply, Ji Xianxian fell silent. Han Ju turned around and left. Ji Xianxian didn't stop him. He only looked at his back with a complicated expression. Ji Xianxian's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 3 stars, Han Ju shook his head and laughed when he saw the notification. He went back to the Fusang tree. Murong Qi was the first to ask, "Grandmaster, how's the situation? Have you gotten rid of the golden crows?" The fact that there was only 1 sun in the sky was enough to show the results. The others looked at Han Ju in admiration. Han Ju said in a low voice, "This matter can't be made public. Just pretend that you don't know." Everyone nodded. Han Ju walked to the Fusang tree and sat down. Then, he closed his eyes. The others didn't dare to disturb him and could only discuss at the side. Han Ju sent his divine sense into the small world in his sleeve. In the darkness, the 2 little golden crows squeezed together and shivered in fear. After the true sun flame dissipated, they appeared pitiful and helpless. "I'll give you a chance. If you acknowledge me as your master, I can let you live and even become stronger," Han Ju said. His consciousness sent his words into the bodies of the 2 little golden crows, turning into information that they could understand. The 2 golden crows looked at each other. They hesitated. Soon, they bowed their heads to Han Ju, indicating that they were willing to surrender. Worried, Han Ju secretly placed the 6 paths insignia on them. He planned to observe for a while before releasing them. The reason why he had adopted the little golden crows was that the Fusang tree might attract other golden crows in the future. It was better to let the 2 abandoned divine golden crows be his mounts in the future. Wouldn't that be cool? The matter of the golden crows caused a heated discussion, but as the 2 suns suddenly disappeared, the world quickly fell silent. A month later. Han Ju was certain that the intelligence of the 2 little golden crows was very low. They were like 3 or 4-year-old children. Taking advantage of their young age, Han Ju deepened the 6 paths insignia in their souls and controlled their lives. The 6 paths insignia was very hidden and difficult to discover. For more, visit Light Novel World. Calm after doing all this, Han Ju released them to the outside world. The 2 little golden crows shrunk to the size of the black hell chicken and excitedly flew up to the Fusang tree. Han Ju strictly ordered them to retract their true sun flame, but even so, the black hell chicken was still very afraid of them. "Master, will they eat me?" The black hell chicken asked while trembling, about to cry. Han Ju snorted. "Didn't you summon them? From now on, you 3 will be companions." The black hell chicken was on the brink of tears. Yang Tiandong looked at the 2 golden crows and instinctively felt fear. To the demons, the Golden Crow was a supreme bloodline. Yang Tiandong, who had the demon saint bloodline, was naturally afraid. Sun Chang'an, Murong Qi, and Dao Comprehension Sword were curious. After settling down the two little golden crows, Han Ju returned to the cave abode to continue cultivating. During this period, Li Qingzi and Chang Yuer came. They were shocked to see the little golden crows and were even more curious about Han Ju's cultivation level. How strong is he? He can even tame such divine beasts. A year later. Amidst cultivation, Han Ju was awakened by a voice. I didn't expect you to have a mistress. Xian Qingjun. Her tone was half smiling, causing Han Ju's heart to tighten. He immediately spread his divine sense and found Xian Qingjun at the foot of the mountain. You can leave first. Han Ju looked at Dao Comprehension Sword and ordered. At the same time, he used his divine sense to activate the mountain protecting array to let Xian Qingjun in. Although Dao Comprehension Sword was puzzled, she still stood up obediently. She bumped into Xian Qingjun as soon as she walked out of the cave abode. Xian Qingjun ignored her and entered the cave abode. Dao Comprehension Sword frowned. Seeing the cave abode's stone door close, she felt inexplicably unhappy. Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Xian Qingjun entered the cave abode and sat down at the table. Xian Qingjun entered the cave abode and sat down at the table. She smiled at Han Ju and clicked her tongue in wonder. You could even tame the golden crows. You've already reached the Mahayana realm. Han Ju suddenly felt that he had missed something. He hurriedly activated the system barrier and enveloped the entire immortal mountain. As he grew stronger, the function of the system also increased. It was not difficult for the barrier to envelop a mountain. He didn't know if the barrier could hide him from the immortal gods. Yes, Han Ju replied. There was nothing to hide. If Xian Qingjun had other thoughts about him, it would serve as a warning. If he could avoid conflict and trouble, he would try his best to avoid it. Xian Qingjun treated him well. He didn't want her to think otherwise. Even if they fought, she couldn't beat him. Xian Qingjun sighed with emotion. I once thought that Ji Xianshen was the #1 prodigy in the world. I didn't expect it to be you. I was wrong back then, but it also shows that my luck is strong. I was able to meet you before you became strong. My dear Dao companion, will you think of throwing me aside now? Xian Qingjun smiled as she asked. She was still very shocked when she arrived at the immortal mountain. This mountain was full of treasures. The Fusang tree made her feel that it was extraordinary. In addition to 2 golden crows, was this a treasure land that a mortal should have? Han Ju smiled and said, of course not. After all, you've helped me a lot. Although they were Dao companions, they were very polite. Xian Qingjun raised her right hand and wiped her face. Her ordinary appearance disappeared and was replaced by a beautiful face. Her eyes were seductive and her facial features were exquisite. Han Ju was a little lost at the view. I knew it. The mighty demon lord couldn't be so ordinary. Even mortals can become good-looking, let alone cultivators. I'm about to ascend. Are you willing to ascend with me? Asked Xian Qingjun, staring at him. Han Ju shook his head. I don't want to ascend yet. Why? You don't want to travel with me? Follow current novels on Light Novel World. I've deduced that I have enemies in the higher realms. There are people waiting for me to ascend. I still have to become stronger. If I ascend with you, I'll only implicate you. Xian Qingjun frowned after hearing that. She looked at Han Ju deeply. She suddenly felt that this man before her was filled with unknowns as if he was the most mysterious fog in the world. Xian Qingjun came to Han Ju's side and asked with a smile, in that case, are you willing to cultivate with me for half a year before I ascend? Han Ju instinctively wanted to reject, but on second thought, she had paid quite a price. She had given him so many resources. Besides, she had a pretty face. Han Ju responded positively to her question. Half a year passed in a flash. Xian Qingjun left. Han Ju sent her out of the cave abode. Dao Comprehension Sword and the others looked over. Xian Qingjun chuckled. We'll meet again in the immortal world. Han Ju nodded. Xian Qingjun turned into a wave of demonic qi and dissipated. Han Ju exclaimed in his mind. They had really cultivated together. Han Ju originally thought that something indescribable would happen between the two of them. He didn't expect that it was just a discussion of the Tao and some experience sharing. That's it. To think that he had been nervous for hundreds of years. Han Ju thought in self-mockery, why do I feel some regrets? It must be the heavenly Tao's doing. My Tao heart can't be tied down by a woman. Master, who is she? Tao Comprehension Sword asked. The black hell chicken laughed strangely on the fusang tree. Needless to say, it's the demoness who wants to eat Master. A golden crow squeezed over, scaring the chicken away. Han Ju replied, a fellow Taoist. We discussed the Tao earlier. It was not bad. You can enter the cave abode now. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm with that, he turned around and went back in. He sat on the bed and started cultivating. At the same time, he wondered why Xing Hongxian and the others were not back yet. Most of the time, Han Ju didn't pay attention to the puppets unless they were in danger. He opened the emails. Your grand disciple Fang Liang chanced upon an opportunity and gained an epiphany of an ancient mystical power. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou obtained the providence of the devil race and his cultivation increased greatly. Your good friend Fairy Shi Xian accidentally entered the ancient mystic realm. Your Tao companion Xing Hongxian accidentally entered the ancient mystic realm. Your good friend Taoist 9 Cauldrons accidentally entered the ancient mystic realm. Your good friend Ji Xianxian has left the mortal world. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a righteous cultivator, X10877. Han Ju clicked his tongue in surprise. Fang Liang had obtained another fortuitous encounter. Could it be that he would not return? When he returned, he might already be immortal. Han Ju noticed that Mo Fuzhou had obtained the providence of the devil race and didn't understand what it meant. The previous demonic path empire seemed to have involved the devil race. Could it be that they still had evil intentions? Also, Ji Xianxian had left the mortal world. The icon was still there. Had he ascended? Han Ju couldn't figure it out, but he didn't want to think about it anymore. He had to hurry up and cultivate, lest the vermilion bird and Taoist Juyan descend into the mortal world to hunt him down. 7 years passed in the blink of an eye. Han Ju finally broke through to the second level of the Mahayana realm. The improvement in cultivation made him very happy. What made him even happier was that he discovered that with the arrival of the 2 golden crows, the rate at which the fusang tree nurtured spirit qi became faster. The 2 golden crows could already speak in human language, and their intelligence was also increasing. The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. Calm, they were very respectful towards Han Ju. Every time they saw him, they couldn't help but shiver. This made the black hell chicken very curious and asked itself whether Han Ju had tortured them before. The cultivation levels of his disciples and grand-disciples also increased. Murong Qi had already become the #1 prodigy of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Ever since he chose the path of the spear, he had created many spear techniques and his combat strength had increased greatly. On this day, the group that went out of the sect finally returned. Taoist 9 Cauldrons, Xing Hongxian, and Fairy Shi Xian first came to the Khanate cave abode to visit him. Elder Han, were you the one who killed the fiend emperor? Taoist 9 Cauldrons suppressed his excitement and asked. It was a long journey. They took more than 10 years to traverse mountains and rivers. However, Taoist Nine Cauldrons was still very excited when he recalled that sword chi. Han Ju said, "Yes, it was me, but don't spread this matter out to avoid unnecessary trouble. The current Jade Pure Sacred sect isn't invincible." Taoist Nine Cauldrons suppressed his excitement and nodded. Xing Hongxian said with admiration, "Husband, you're truly incredible. You're definitely the #1 cultivator in the world." Fairy Shi Xian also sighed. Thinking back, how could she have imagined that this disciple, who had given her a headache in the past, would become #1 in the world in just a few hundred years? Han Ju's rise made her realize something. Talent was really important. With outstanding talent, he did not need to go out and explore. His cultivation speed was still unparalleled. If one's talent was not good, even if he obtained opportunities frequently, he still could not catch up to the absolute geniuses. I don't dare to call myself the #1 in the world. There might be many powerful figures hidden in this world. You can't underestimate the people of the world, Han Ju said seriously. Taoist Nine Cauldrons adjusted his emotions and said, "Recently, a true devil appeared in the world. His name is Mo Fuzhou. I suspect that he's that disciple from our Jade Pure Sacred sect. What do you think we should do? Should we issue a kill order? If it was really a disciple of the Jade Pure Sacred sect, it would be too tarnishing for the sect's reputation. Perhaps the world would think that they were a demonic sect." Han Ju asked, "Has he already started killing?" "No, but rumor has it that he's a true devil. Then forget about it." Han Ju still had a good impression of Mo Fuzhou, but it was only a good impression. There was no need to attract trouble for him. Di Hongye has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 3 stars. A question mark appeared in Han Ju's mind when he saw the line of words. Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Who was Di Hongye? Han Ju chatted with Taoist Nine Cauldrons while looking for Di Hongye. Han Ju chatted with Taoist Nine Cauldrons while looking for Di Hongye. Soon, he found the profile icon. He saw a rich and beautiful woman. Di Hongye, cultivation unknown. She is from the Golden Crow Divine Clan. She had once given birth to 7 golden crows for her husband. The 2 youngest golden crows were expelled from the Golden Crow Divine Clan due to their poor potential. Di Hongye has always been concerned about them. She deduced that you have taken in the 2 golden crows and developed a favorable impression of you. If you kill the 2 golden crows, you will receive Di Hongye's hatred, and she will not let go until you are dead. Current favorability, 3 stars. Oh. So it was the mother of the golden crows. Han Ju was secretly glad that he didn't kill the 2 little golden crows. Otherwise, he would be dead. This was the first time that the system could not identify one's cultivation level. Come to think of it, giving birth to 7 golden crows was truly an incredible feat. After chatting for a while, Taoist Nine Cauldrons left. Fairy Shi Xian and Xing Hongxian did not stay long either. Dao Comprehension Sword couldn't help but ask curiously, "Master, are you already the strongest cultivator in the world?" From Taoist Nine Cauldrons' description, she suddenly understood that Han Ju's finger technique many years ago was not just to show them what Mahayana was. Impossible. That's because they are ignorant. I can sense that there are at least 10,000 Mahayana cultivators in this world. Many of them are stronger than me. They just don't want to be disturbed by the mortal world. Han Ju shook his head. Dao Comprehension Sword frowned. She felt the pressure again. She still had to cultivate diligently. Otherwise, if her master abandoned her one day, she wouldn't be able to survive. After Taoist Nine Cauldrons and the others returned, the Jade Pure Sacred sect began to release a large number of sect missions. They were no longer limited to the Great Yen, and the disciples could freely appear outside the Great Yen realm. Han Ju finally welcomed his ideal cultivation era. Even though he was already unparalleled under the heavens, he did not relax. Most of his time was spent on cultivation. Unlike before, he would take the time to teach those around him. Xing Hongxian and Chang Yue were the ones he took the most care of. The two of them were not Khanate bearers and their cultivation potential was not high. To be honest, it was very, very difficult for them to reach the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Unless there was a great opportunity for them to be reborn. Although Han Ju was a Mahayana realm cultivator, he couldn't change fate. Otherwise, the chances of people ascending in the mortal world would increase greatly. Follow current novels on Light Novel World. If Xing Hongxian and Chang Yue died of old age, in Han Ju's opinion, it was also a good thing. If they were reincarnated and had good potential, their cultivation would be twice as effective. Reincarnation could easily change a person's soul. It was mainly because of different experiences and memories. If Han Ju helped them awaken their memories when they just reincarnated, they wouldn't become another person. Of course, this was only Han Ju's preparation plan. Xing Hongxian and Chang Yue definitely didn't want to die. What Han Ju could do was to help them cultivate as much as possible. 7 years later. Xing Hongxian couldn't help but go out to search for fortuitous encounters again. This time, Chang Yue also followed. The two women could also take care of each other. Ever since Xing Hongxian returned, Chang Yue often visited her. The relationship between these two women had improved greatly. Now, they were like best friends. Han Ju found it hard to understand. Perhaps Dao Comprehension Sword and Fairy Shi Xian had provoked them. When Xing Hongxian learned that Fairy Shi Xian and Chang Yue both had heavenly puppets, she immediately understood the situation. On this day, Su Qi and the chaotic heavenly dog returned. Han Ju was almost scared to death. He hurriedly called Su Qi into the cave abode. As for the chaotic heavenly dog, he couldn't be bothered. The chaotic heavenly dog began wailing as it was surrounded by the crowd. It felt aggrieved. Ever since it left the mountain, it had been suffering. Yang Tiandong appeared to be consoling, but he was secretly gloating. Stupid dog. Serves you right. Sun Chang'an was very curious about the chaotic heavenly dog and Su Qi. As for Murong Qi, he had recently gone out and was not on the mountain. The Black Hell Chicken boasted, "Come, after all these years, let Master Chicken see what you're capable of. It's back." Finally. It dreamed of teaching this dog a lesson. The chaotic heavenly dog was no fool. It could sense that the Black Hell Chicken's aura was stronger than his. Follow current novels on Light Novel World. He turned to look at the two golden crows on the fusang tree and asked curiously, "What's that?" "Your sons." After the little golden crows concealed their true sun flames, they didn't exude any aura. Furthermore, their realm was far higher than the chaotic heavenly dog's. The dog couldn't see through their cultivation level. "Yes, that's the younger brother and sister I hatched for you," the Black Hell Chicken replied indifferently. The mention of the golden crows made it uncomfortable. For some reason, the two little golden crows liked to pester it. This was very troubling. Facing the golden crows, it was truly afraid. The chaotic heavenly dog bristled. "Then I'll fight them. I'll show you the results of my cultivation." With that, it walked straight to the fusang tree. Yang Tiandong, the Black Hell Chicken, and Sun Chang'an didn't stop it. They all revealed strange smiles. On the other side, Dao Comprehension Sword was chased out of the cave abode again. She looked indignant. It was fine if that was a woman, but why was her master chasing her out for a man? Inside the cave abode, Su Qi kept kowtowing to him. Like the chaotic heavenly dog, he wailed, making Han Ju speechless. "Master! I've completed the task you gave me. Thank you for protecting me all these years." Su Qi was extremely excited. Only when he returned did he feel at ease. Secretly protected? That's your bad luck. Han Ju said seriously, from now on, you can cultivate with me in the cave abode. His words were casual, but they were the warmest words Su Qi had ever heard. Han Ju suddenly frowned and raised his palm to slap him. Su Qi was sent flying and fell on the wall. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. He looked up at Han Ju in shock and was about to say something when he saw a demonic shadow. The silhouette. Devil Master. Su Qi was shocked. He had been wondering where the Devil Master had gone. He didn't expect the Devil Master to be hidden in his body. This content is taken from Light Novel World. Could it be that when he had sex with women, the Devil Master had also? Su Qi's hatred for the Devil Master instantly reached the maximum. Han Ju looked at the demonic shadow expressionlessly and said, "Why are you hiding in my disciple's body?" The Devil Master teased, "So the master he has been talking about is you. You're truly capable. To be able to sense my existence, you must be a Mahayana realm cultivator." "He's the Devil Master!" Su Qi exclaimed. "The Devil Master has hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 4 stars, a line of words appeared in front of Han Ju. He couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He cautiously checked the Devil Master's information. Devil Master, 7th level of the Mahayana realm, soul fragment state. The strongest demonic cultivator in the demonic path for the past 10,000 years, known to all as the Devil Master. Because you are Su Qi's master, he has developed hatred towards you and will definitely kill you in the future. Current hatred points, 4 stars, Soul fragment. Han Ju suddenly attacked. He used the 6 paths soul absorption technique and sucked the Devil Master's soul into his palm. He then quickly cast the 6 paths insignia on the Devil Master's soul. "What are you doing?" The Devil Master growled in anger. Han Ju pretended to hesitate and said, "You're the Devil Master. Killing you is what I should do. However, I'm afraid of trouble. If I let you go, can you let my disciple go?" When the Devil Master heard this, he felt disdain. So it was a coward. "Of course. All right, you can leave," Han Ju said. "Farewell." The Devil Master's soul fragment quickly fled. The Devil Master's hatred towards you has increased. Current hatred points, 5 stars, Han Ju raised his eyebrows when he saw the notification. He was really asking for death. After the Devil Master left, Su Qi said, "Master, you can't believe his words." Han Ju said calmly, "I don't believe him at all. It's only because that was just a soul fragment. Visit Light Novel World. For a better experience when the soul fragment of the Devil Master returned to his main body, Han Ju would let him have a taste of what it was like to be schemed against. Hearing Han Ju's words, Su Qi couldn't help but think of the sword Qi that killed the Fiend Emperor. Hearing Han Ju's words, Su Qi couldn't help but think of the sword Qi that killed the Fiend Emperor. Could it be? Su Qi looked expectant. "Tell me about your experiences over the years." Han Ju smiled. His smile was so kind and warm in Su Qi's eyes. Su Qi was inexplicably touched. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sat down in front of him. He began to talk about his hundreds of years of experience. Han Ju breathed in and cultivated while listening. He didn't need to interrupt and only listen to Su Qi. It had to be said that Su Qi's experience was truly legendary. It was full of ups and downs and was absolutely wonderful. It could be written as a fairy tale. It took him 10 days and 10 nights to finish. Even though his cultivation was close to the void amalgamation realm, his mouth was still dry. Han Ju sighed. "It's been hard on you all these years." Su Qi replied, "Master, you must be concerned about me. It must be your plan for me to be able to survive, just like how you killed the Fiend Emperor." Han Ju felt embarrassed, but his expression was calm. Cultivate for 10 years first. I'll teach you the mystical power later, said Han Ju. Su Qi nodded. He had calmed down. Then, the master and disciple entered a cultivation state and no longer spoke. After the war between the righteous and demonic ended, many holy lands led by the heavenly immortal manner joined forces. The fiendish cultivators retreated step by step like street rats. The demons did not dare to act recklessly, and peace returned to the world. The righteous path seemed to realize that they were not strong enough on the surface. The holy lands began to promote their respective geniuses. For more, visit Light Novel World. Calm among them, Ji Xianxian was the most famous. He had slain one of the 5 fiends, Luo Qima, and slaughtered 1,000,000 fiendish cultivators. His reputation was unparalleled. Ji Xianxian even had the bearing of the #1 cultivator in the world. However, the identity of the mysterious cultivator who had killed the fiend emperor had never been revealed, causing Ji Xianxian to be unable to firmly take first place. Time passed gradually, and another 10 years passed. Han Ju broke through to the 3rd level of the Mahayana realm. Breaking through a minor realm in 17 years was a little slow to Han Ju. However, if it was spread out, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Han Ju's goal was to reach the perfected Mahayana realm as soon as possible and break through to the immortal realm. On this day, Han Ju brought Su Qi out of the cave abode and started to teach him a mystical power. Yang Tiandong was sent to the foot of the mountain. The others had the great providence of immortals, so they shouldn't be killed by Su Qi. After all, even the chaotic heavenly dog could withstand it. Su Qi's bad luck was a calamity to the mortals, but in the higher realms, it might not be that strong. Moreover, Su Qi was still immortal. Su Qi was very excited. He could finally learn something from his master. Yang Tiandong, Sun Chang'an, and Dao Comprehension Sword were very curious about him. The chaotic heavenly dog no longer felt love. They had both been away for centuries, so why was Su Qi so favored by his master? It had expected its master to scold and beat it, but it had not expected its master to ignore it. It was uncomfortable. Han Ju spent a month imparting his mystical power. When Su Qi was cultivating his mystical power, Han Ju came to the Fusang tree and sat down, feeling its boundless vitality. It was indeed a divine tree. Now, the spirit qi produced by the Fusang tree had already surpassed that of the entire immortal mountain. Not only that, but the spiritual qi was too rich and began to spread. It benefited the entire Jade Pure Sacred sect. The nearest mountain was the first to enjoy the benefits. Taoist 9 cauldrons had set up the surrounding mountains as a blessed land. Only those who had made outstanding contributions to the sect could move their cave abodes there. This had nothing to do with Han Ju. He took out the Book of Misfortune and started to curse the Vermilion Bird and Taoist Juyan. He pulled up his interpersonal relationships and checked his emails. After not seeing them for so many years, he wondered how his friends were doing. Your grand disciple Fang Liang was attacked by demons, X43211. This content is taken from Light Novel World. Your grand disciple Fang Liang was attacked by a demon saint and was severely injured. Fortunately, a mighty figure passed by and he escaped death. Your good friend Imo Fuzhou inherited the demonic path's mystical power. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Ji Xianxian has returned to the mortal world. He has comprehended the true meaning of heaven and earth and stepped into the Mahayana realm. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by your good friend Imo Fuzhou and was severely injured. Your Dao companion Xian Qingjun ascended and became an immortal. Her providence has increased greatly. Your grand disciple Murong Qi met with a fortuitous encounter and his body transformed. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a righteous cultivator, X3892. Han Ju looked down and felt that the cultivation world was indeed peaceful. He suddenly thought of the Devil Master. He didn't know if the Devil Master's soul fragment had returned to his main body. He began to sense the 6 paths insignia on the Devil Master's soul fragment. Soon, Hanju caught the Devil Master's aura. He checked his interpersonal relationships and discovered that the Devil Master's soul fragment had already disappeared. Presumably, it had returned to the main body. Since that was the case, he should be killed now. Hanju raised his right hand and pointed at the sky with his index finger. He closed his eyes and carefully sensed the direction of the 6 paths insignia. On the other side, at the other end of the world. On a desolate desert, sand blew into the sky. The Devil Master floated above the cliff. In front of him were 3 people. They were Mo Fuzhou, Mo Zhu, and a black-robed woman. Disbelief filled the faces of Mo Fuzhou and the others. This is the origin of your Mo family. The Devil Race has chosen you. If you complete the mission given to you by the Devil Race, the Mo family will become an immortal family of the higher realm. The Devil Master smiled. Even though he was smiling, it was still terrifying. For more, visit Light Novel World. Calm gritting his teeth, Mo Fuzhou said, "We can't control our birth, but we don't want to become devils who cause chaos." The Devil Master sneered. "Oh. Have you not killed many? I didn't do it on purpose. Most of the time, I had no choice. What about your good brother Zhou Fan? Do you remember how you killed him?" Mo Fuzhou's expression instantly darkened. Zhou Fan's death was the biggest worry in his heart. Every time he thought of Zhou Fan, Mo Fuzhou would feel extremely uncomfortable. His heart would be tormented and he would wish that he was dead. The black-robed woman interjected, "The Devil Race wants to control the mortal world. What do the immortals think? We're humans, not devils. If we help them replace the humans, how can we stand on our own? Besides, even the Fiend Emperor didn't succeed. How many years will it take us to succeed? Did the devils send any powerful helpers?" The Devil Master glanced at her and snorted. "Even without you guys, the Devil Race will succeed. When we cultivate the demonic path techniques, we are no longer humans. The Devil Race is not a single lineage. There are countless devils in the myriad mortal worlds. As for the powerful helpers sent by the Devil Race, I am that reinforcement." His tone was full of confidence. Mo Zhu couldn't help but ask, "Are you stronger than the Fiend Emperor?" "Of course. How can the Fiend Emperor be compared to me? Previously, I didn't attack because I wanted to use the Fiend Emperor to test the strength of the righteous path." The Devil Master's words were filled with disdain for the Fiend Emperor. At this moment, a terrifying pressure came, startling the Devil Master and Mo Fuzhou. They subconsciously turned to look. Sword light shone on their faces. Before the Devil Master could react, he saw a sword beam from the corner of his eye. That was, boom, the heaven-earth mystic yellow world-piercing sword finger swept past, drowning the Devil Master. The terrifying wind sent Mo Fuzhou and the other 2 flying. The sword chi came quickly and dissipated quickly. The source of this content is Light Novel World. Calm Mo Fuzhou and the other 2 stabilized themselves in the air. They looked over in astonishment. They could no longer see the Devil Master nor sense his demonic chi. The Devil Master was obliterated in both body and soul. When Hanju found the 6 paths insignia on the Devil Master, he realized that there was another 6 paths insignia beside him. He sensed carefully and realized that it was Mo Zhu. When Hanju found the 6 paths insignia on the Devil Master, he realized that there was another 6 paths insignia beside him. He sensed carefully and realized that it was Mo Zhu. He immediately connected with the heavenly puppet in Mo Zhu's storage ring and heard the Devil Master's words. The Devil Race was not giving up. Hearing the Devil Master's posturing, Hanju couldn't listen anymore. "Go and die. Enough is enough." Shooting him with a single finger was a good chance to scare Mo Fuzhou and the other 2, telling them that it was impossible for the devils to succeed. Mo Zhu was the first to recover. She swallowed and said, "He died just like that." The black-robed woman was horrified. She was the second-generation head of the Mo family, Mo Yuling. She was at the 5th level of the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Her cultivation level was the highest among the 3, so her feelings were deeper. The Devil Master made her feel extremely powerful, even suffocating. Such a powerful existence was instantly killed by the mysterious sword cultivator. How strong was the attacker? Fortunately, we didn't agree directly, or we might have died. Mo Fuzhou smiled bitterly. Evil cannot triumph over good. Mo Fuzhou strengthened his Tao heart. Even if he was a true devil, he had to be one with a righteous heart. Mo Zhu hurriedly bowed in all directions and said, "Thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for your forgiveness. Thank you for your forgiveness." She was afraid that the expert would attack again. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm Hanju couldn't help but laugh when he heard her words. The 3 of them left immediately. Mo Fuzhou looked at Mo Yuling and asked, "Where are we going next?" Mo Yuling took a deep breath and said, "Find the clansmen scattered throughout the world and then return to the Mo family's territory. The Mo family is very big, and only a small portion of the clan remains in your Great Yen. As the main clan was slaughtered, the other clans should have also followed in their footsteps. However, like you, there will always be people who survive." Mo Fuzhou nodded. Mo Zhu hesitated. She wanted to say that since the Mo family no longer wanted revenge, could she return to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect? However, on second thought, the Mo family still needed to be saved, and she couldn't give up now. After so many years, Xing Hongxian and Chang Yuer must have become closer to Hanju. Would she become more distant from him? Thinking of this, Mo Zhu was worried about her gains and losses, and her expression was filled with disappointment. After killing the Devil Master, Hanju felt much more relaxed. It was good to kill him as soon as possible. Otherwise, this fellow would cause trouble again and affect the situation of the world, affecting his cultivation. But then again, how strong are the devils? Why aren't the immortal gods intervening? If Hanju was the lord of the heavenly court and saw the devils attacking the mortal world, he would understand that the devils were developing and would definitely stop them. Hanju felt that there might be a problem. Should I ask Zhang Guxing? Hanju felt that it was feasible, so he began to comprehend the 3 pure world cleansing and attempted to elevate this mystical power. A month later. For more, visit Light Novel World. Calm the natural phenomenon caused everyone in the world to discuss. Combined with the culture of the world, most cultivators believed that another peerless genius had been born in a certain holy land. Hanju came to the Sword Dao River again. Passing by the various sword shadows, Hanju saw Zhang Guxing. "Brother. Senior, long time no see." Hanju smiled. No matter how the mortal world surged and how the world changed, Hanju would always encounter this sword immortal guarding the Sword Dao in the Sword Dao River. Zhang Guxing was no longer surprised by his arrival. Instead, he asked casually, "You're at the 3rd level of the Mahayana realm. Aren't you going to ascend?" Hanju smiled and said, "There are enemies in the higher realm. I don't dare to ascend." Oh. Relying on the fact that Guxing didn't ask further, Hanju knew he obviously didn't want to get involved. In any case, he didn't expect him to help. Hanju said, "Our mortal world has been invaded by the devils. Why don't the immortals and gods take action?" Zhang Guxing replied calmly, "The upper world is in chaos. The heavenly court can't even take care of itself, so how can they care about the mortal realm? However, before long, the heavenly court will restore order." The upper world was in chaos? Hanju asked curiously, "The upper world can still be in chaos? What happened?" A greater demon saint appeared among the demons. He refused to obey the heavenly court and wreaked havoc in the heavens. There might be a powerful faction backing him, making it impossible for the heavenly court to suppress him in a short period of time. However, with the heavenly court's heritage, it will be dealt with quickly. Wait patiently. As for the devil race, their era has long ended. The demonic palace is only a second-tier faction in the upper world. After we mortals ascend, will we directly join the heavenly court? In your dreams. Many ascension platforms in the upper world connect to the thousands of mortal worlds in the universe. Most mortals can only join the cultivation sects in the upper world after they ascend. A small number of talented people will be chosen by the heavenly court, the Buddhist sect, and the divine palace. You can consider it. With your potential, you will definitely encounter such a choice. Once you choose, it will be very difficult to change factions. Relying on Zhang Guxing's words, his eyes revealed anticipation. He was looking forward to the commotion when Han Ju ascended. Such a prodigy was rare even in the upper world. Han Ju asked, "Senior, which faction do you think I should choose?" The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. Zhang Guxing rolled his eyes and said, "Don't think too much. I'm alone in the heavens and don't have any background. You're a human, so it's best if you choose the heavenly court and divine palace. From the current distribution of power in the upper world, the divine palace, heavenly court, and Buddhist sect are the three top parties. They're on par with each other. However, the upper world is very big. There are also thousands of races, such as the Dragon race, Phoenix race, Golden Crow race, Qilin race, Azura race, and so on. There's also the mysterious Tao sect and the ancient immortal sect. Since we share some affinity, I'll give you a piece of advice. If you are not a grand unity heaven immortal, it's best to stay low profile. Han Ju smiled and said, "Senior, you're indeed my kind. To be honest, I have never left my sect in my life. Cultivating is common for me. Even if I become a grand unity heaven immortal, I won't go out." Really? Really? Using his fingers to calculate, Zhang Guxing sighed. "You're so boring." Han Ju almost vomited blood. What the heck? Han Ju changed the topic and asked, "Senior, have you heard of Profound Truth Divine Emperor?" Eh? How do you know about Profound Truth Divine Emperor? He's the unparalleled war god of the divine palace. He died a long time ago, but he was once an invincible existence among immortal emperors. How are you compared to him? Far inferior. How is the relationship between the Profound Truth Divine Emperor and the Divine Palace? I'm not sure. It said that the reason why the Profound Truth Divine Emperor died was due to the internal strife within the Divine Palace. He was surrounded by many immortal emperors from the demon race, but the Divine Palace did not provide any assistance. After the Profound Truth Divine Emperor died, the Divine Palace did not create a statue for him either. When Han Ju heard that, he knew that something was wrong. Murong Qi had a blood feud. He couldn't go to the Divine Palace. Hurry up and ascend. Don't waste time. With your potential, as long as you join a major faction, those enemies won't find trouble with you. As Han Ju said, "My enemy is the vermilion bird." Vermilion bird? Then don't bother ascending, just wait and die in your current world. The source of this content is Light Novel World. Calm. Zhang Guxing asked with a strange tone, "How did you provoke the vermilion bird?" The vermilion bird is a divine beast of providence. Even the heavenly court, divine palace, and Buddhist sect would fawn on their race. If a vermilion bird causes trouble for you, the three major factions will probably turn a blind eye. No matter how talented you are, you're still from the mortal world. You can't compare to the vermilion bird. Listen to my advice. Disperse your cultivation, jump into the cycle of reincarnation, and change your identity. Damn it! Damn it! Reincarnate and cultivate again? Han Ju couldn't stay calm. He wasn't Xing Hongxian, Chang Yue, or any of the other women who could receive his help and regain their memories. He could only rely on himself. Since that was the case, he had to surpass the vermilion bird before considering ascension. In any case, the Fusang tree was growing. This was a divine tree that could attract the divine beasts of the upper world to the mortal world. Han Ju believed that with the Fusang tree, he could continue cultivating. Senior, is there any way to avoid ascending? I want to continue cultivating in the mortal world. Han Ju narrowed his eyes and asked. Shen Guxing replied, I would be lying if I said there isn't. The world is vast, all kinds of things exist. According to what I know, there's a type of spirit stone related to the heavenly Tao that can avoid the restrictions of the heavenly Tao. If one does not transcend the tribulation, even if their cultivation level is far beyond the mortal realm, they can still stay in the mortal realm. Such spirit stones are not rare in the upper world. Immortals often rely on such spirit stones to descend to the mortal realm. However, the heavenly court strictly forbids the immortals from descending to the mortal realm. Once they're discovered, they will be dealt with according to the heavenly rules. When Han Ju heard that, he confirmed that the heaven-evading stone was that kind of stone. He was completely at ease. He could now rest in peace. TSK. Cultivate in peace. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. I'll visit you again next time. Han Ju bowed and walked past Zhang Guxing. Zhang Guxing shook his head slightly and did not say anything else. After raising the three pure world cleansing, Han Ju comprehended the true meaning of heaven and earth and consolidated his cultivation for several months. He had Su Qi open a cave abode at the side. Without his orders, he was not allowed to leave. In order to not make him suspicious, Han Ju strictly ordered the other disciples not to disturb him. Su Qi immediately became proud as he thought, Master wants to focus on nurturing me. He wants me to cultivate well. At this point, the dissatisfied Tao comprehension sword could finally enter Han Ju's cave abode. He didn't let her enter the cave abode to take care of her feelings. It was mainly because she could increase the spirit qi in the cave abode. Follow new episodes on the light novel world. Com platform. The heaven and earth grass was a treasure even if it gained human form. Han Ju immersed himself in cultivation again. Recently, the upper world was in chaos. Perhaps Taoist Juyin and the vermilion bird would come to the mortal world at any time. Han Ju had to become as strong as possible. In a dark cave, Patriarch Blood Fiend, White-haired Fiend Lady, and Fiendish Arhat sat opposite each other. The three of them had extremely dark expressions. A crystal ball floated between them. Demonic aura surged within it. Luo Chioma is dead. A cold voice sounded. Patriarch Blood Fiend took a deep breath and said, he was killed by the genius of the heavenly immortal manner. Not only him, but all of us who worked for the devil race were severely injured. Even the Fiend Emperor died. A cold voice followed, why do you serve the devils? Are you betraying this world? Hearing this, the three fiends fell silent. They didn't really want to serve the devils, it was just that they had been given an irresistible offer. Fiendish Arhat sighed. Amitba. I'm not playing anymore. I plan on ascending like the Demon Lord. White-haired Fiend Lady nodded. She was also tired. Patriarch Blood Fiend sighed. Although they were top-notch existences in the mortal world, with their current cultivation levels, they wouldn't be completely reborn after transcending the tribulation. Since ancient times, there was a saying that after successfully ascending, one's cultivation level would increase exponentially. The higher one's cultivation level before ascension, the greater the cultivation level increased after ascension. This was also the reason why they refused to ascend. In the mortal world, they were mighty figures who controlled the life and death of all living beings. After they ascended, they would become one of the weak living beings again. Who would ascend before their time was up? don't ascend yet. In at most 500 years, I will descend into the mortal world. When I destroy the heavenly immortal manor, you can then ascend. I will introduce you to the sects in the upper world and let you have someone to rely on. As for the devils, don't bother with them. The heavenly court will soon attack them. The sinister voice sounded again, causing the eyes of the three to light up. It couldn't be any better if he could destroy the heavenly immortal manor. To be honest, they were also angry and had nowhere to vent. Patriarch Blood Fiend immediately cupped his fists and bowed. Senior Juyin, we're waiting for you to descend into the mortal world. Of course. 20 years passed quickly. Hanju successfully broke through to the 4th level of the Mahayana realm. After breaking through, he habitually took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed Daoist Juyin and Vermilion Bird. Hanju was quite satisfied with this speed of breakthrough. He would be able to break through to the realm above the Mahayana realm in at most 100 years. While cursing, he checked the emails. Your good friend Imo Fujo was attacked by righteous cultivators, X4897, your grand disciple Fong Liang accidentally entered the ancient forbidden ground and became the owner of an unparalleled divine sword. Your grand disciple Fong Liang consumed the heaven and earth divine fruit and his cultivation level increased exponentially. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by beasts, X78834, your good friend Daoist Ji Kong has achieved Dao ascension and his providence has increased tremendously. Your Dao companion Xing Hongxian accidentally entered the temple of the land deity. Your good friend Chang Yuer accidentally entered the temple of the land deity. Your grand disciple Fong Liang has entered the heavenly immortal manor. His providence has increased. Hanju counted carefully. In the past 20 years, Fong Liang had obtained 9 fortuitous encounters. Ridiculous. The Son of Heaven and Earth was really unreasonable. Most importantly, this fellow actually entered the heavenly immortal manor. He felt that when this brat returned, he would really be at the Mahayana realm. The Son of Heaven and Earth was best left wandering outside. Hanju also noticed Xing Hongxian and Chang Yuer's opportunities. He was interested in the land deity. Updated from Light Novel World. What was a land deity? A month later. Hanju ended the curse and kept the Book of Misfortune. He then turned his attention to Xing Hongxuan's puppet. He had to do things one by one. He couldn't skip the daily missions. Through the heavenly puppet, Hanju saw an extremely spectacular Daoist temple. The Daoist temple was resplendent in gold and jade. The space within was several thousand feet high. The stone pillars supporting the Daoist temple were tens of feet in diameter as if this was a giant's temple. Xing Hongxian and Chang Yuer were sitting in front of a painting. They seemed to be comprehending something. Sometimes they would frown and sometimes laugh. Hanju spread his divine sense and looked at the Daoist temple carefully. Soon, he discovered a remnant soul in a stone statue. The remnant soul was an old Daoist nun dressed in a Daoist robe. She was curled up inside the stone statue, seemingly in a deep sleep. Hanju didn't know her cultivation level and didn't dare to disturb her. Could this really be a land deity? Fellow Daoist Guan, I've already broken through to the Mahayana realm. Let's spar. A voice entered Hanju's ears. Hanju returned to his body. Ji Xianshen. This fellow broke through to the Mahayana realm. He had noticed it before, but he didn't take it to heart. Hanju cautiously used the simulation trial to fight first. So close. But it was still an instant kill. Hanju immediately disappeared from the cave abode. Ji Xianshen waited for Hanju in the forest dozens of kilometers away. He was also very cautious. Although he had broken through to the Mahayana realm, what if he could not win? If he brought many people, wouldn't the news of his defeat spread? Hanju appeared behind him. Ji Xianshen turned around and said in high spirits, Guan Yu, I have already reached the Mahayana realm and have comprehended a new mystical power. I have defeated all the elders of the heavenly immortal manor. As long as I can defeat you, I will truly be the number one in the world. After saying that, Ji Xianchen noticed a nervous expression on Han Ju's face. He was very pleased. After saying that, Ji Xianchen noticed a nervous expression on Han Ju's face. He was very pleased. It seemed that his talent could still intimidate the other party. Han Ju asked carefully, "If I win this time, will you come and spar with me again?" Upon hearing this, Ji Xianchen immediately became unhappy. "What do you mean? You're too conceited. Impossible. I, Ji Xianchen, am invincible. Previously, I was only weaker than you in cultivation level. Now, I will definitely defeat you. Just use the move that killed the Fiend Emperor. I'll take it." Han Ju was speechless. Why do young people want to die? He hesitated. Is that necessary? Ji Xianchen snorted. What? Are you afraid of losing to me? You must accept the challenge today. Han Ju sighed and raised his right hand. This time, he raised his middle finger at him. Ji Xianchen shook his arms. Golden lightning burst out and wrapped around his body, forming a solid golden tower. Han Ju activated the six-path spirit energy and began to accumulate power, preparing to use the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow World-Piercing Sword Finger. He hesitated. How much spirit energy should he use? When Han Ju raised the spirit energy in his middle finger to 30%, the terrifying aura caused Ji Xianchen to frown. This is the sword chi that killed the Fiend Emperor. To actually use a finger as a sword, it's indeed impressive. Ji Xianchen thought to himself. When the spirit energy in Han Ju's middle finger increased to 50%, Ji Xianchen felt his blood run cold. Not good. Would he be unable to stop it? Would he die? This thought appeared in Ji Xianchen's mind. Impossible. I'm the strongest genius in the history of the heavenly immortal manor. How can I die? Han Ju continued to increase the spirit energy of the Heaven-Earth Mystic Yellow World-Piercing Sword Finger. Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience 80%. Wait. Ji Xianchen suddenly stopped. Cold sweat oozed out of his forehead. Han Ju retracted his hand and asked in surprise, "What's wrong?" Ji Xianchen heaved a sigh of relief. His face was slightly red as he said, "Forget it. Since you don't want me to disturb you, I'll come again when you're free. Farewell." With that, Ji Xianchen turned around, turned into a shadow, and quickly disappeared into the forest. Han Ju shook his head and laughed. This guy is a little cute. This is the world's number one. Han Ju returned to the cave abode. Dao Comprehension Sword asked curiously, "Where did you go just now?" "To meet a friend." "Male or female?" What does that have to do with you?" Seeing Han Ju frown, Dao Comprehension Sword panicked. She hurriedly waved her hand and said, "I'm just worried about you." Han Ju couldn't be bothered with her. He closed his eyes and shifted his consciousness back into Xing Hongshuan's puppet. He continued to inspect the Daoist temple and discovered that there was only one remnant soul inside. As for the restriction, the danger level was very low. Han Ju stopped investigating. After Xing Hongxian woke up, he would remind her not to disturb the remnant soul. What if it was very strong? According to the cultivation novels Han Ju read in his previous life, it was certain that there were powerful figures hidden in the world. There might also be terrifying existences that could overturn the six realms lurking in the mortal world. There might be as many loose immortals as there were dogs, and the age of Mahayana being common everywhere could come at any time. Han Ju's consciousness returned to the cave abode and continued cultivating. He had to maintain this cultivation speed. He could only be faster, not slower, or else he would feel uneasy. 5 years later. Visit Light Novel World. Come for a better experience. The guest elder of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect, Dooku, came to visit Han Ju. He was here to say goodbye as he was preparing to ascend. Before leaving, he wanted to visit Su Qi. No matter what, Su Qi was the last disciple of the demon-taming sect. Before he ascended, he had to say his goodbyes. Han Ju frowned and said, "I think you shouldn't visit him and just directly ascend." Dooku frowned, "Why? Are you afraid that I'll steal him from you?" "No, it's for your own sake. I'm just saying goodbye. If you stop me, it'll turn into my mental demon." "Alright, then hurry up." "Of course." Dooku left to find Su Qi. Han Ju cursed silently. "I'm trying to help you, but you got angry at me." What made Han Ju even more speechless was that after this fellow found Su Qi, he didn't directly say goodbye. Instead, he began to talk about the past between him and the demon-taming sect. Su Qi was also speechless. In his opinion, the one who had destroyed the demon-taming sect was his master. He had to keep this matter a secret so as to not cause trouble for his master. After 5 days and 5 nights, Dooku finally left. For some reason, when Han Ju used his divine sense to observe him, he felt that this guy's aura was covered in darkness. A sign of great calamity. 8 years later. In the middle of his cultivation, Han Ju opened his eyes. He thought of Dooku and began to check the emails. Your good friend Zhou Fan had a fortuitous encounter and obtained a grand unity numinous treasure. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by a demon saint and is severely injured. Your good friend Dooku transcended the tribulation and ascended. He encountered a sudden phenomenon in the heavenly tribulation and nearly died. Although he succeeded in his ascension, his cultivation was greatly damaged and his cultivation level declined instead of rising. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has obtained the recognition of a senior's soul thought in the heavenly immortal manner. He has learned a great mystical power. Your disciple Murong Qi was attacked by demons, X75321. Your disciple Murong Qi has comprehended the spear Dao during the slaughter. His cultivation has increased greatly and he has awakened his divinity. Your friend Imo Fuzhou was attacked by ghosts, X1762. Visit Light Novel World. Come for a better experience. Han Ju couldn't help but mourn for Dooku. Fellow Daoist, you deserved it. However, this old fellow's luck was quite good. He actually made it through. Han Ju noticed that Zhou Fan had obtained a grand unity numinous treasure. Was he going to rise up again? A grand unity numinous treasure was definitely an invincible weapon in the mortal world. As for Feng Liang, it was just a usual day of his life, there was no surprise. What surprised Han Ju was that Murong Qi actually awakened his divinity. Grand disciple, impressive. Han Ju didn't expect that the one he looked forward to the most was not his disciple but his grand disciple. Feng Liang and Murong Qi had already surpassed Sun Chang'an and Yang Tiandong, fully displaying his talent and providence. Especially Murong Qi, he could be well nurtured. Perhaps the task of killing the vermilion bird would be completed by him. Han Ju thought silently. He was about to continue cultivating. At this moment, Dao Comprehension Sword spoke, "Master, you're awake." Good timing, the Fusang tree is moving again. Han Ju frowned. Why? Dao Comprehension Sword shook her head. I'm not sure either. But, recently, during nighttime, the Fusang tree will shake. Your disciples are also very worried. Han Ju got up and walked out of the cave abode. Upon seeing him, Sun Chang'an, the chaotic heavenly dog, and the black hell chicken hurriedly knelt down. Han Ju looked up. The 2 golden crows were still napping on the tree. They did not leave the Fusang tree. So why did the Fusang tree sway? Don't invite trouble again. Master, I definitely didn't leave the Fusang tree. Even if I did, it wouldn't have taken more than 5 minutes. The black hell chicken hurriedly promised, its tone filled with fear. Han Ju ignored it and probed into the Fusang tree with his divine sense, wanting to see if there was anything wrong inside. The Fusang tree was very healthy and full of life. It didn't seem like something had happened. Han Ju was puzzled. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm boom. Heaven and earth rumbled. A thunderous explosion suddenly erupted, startling Dao Comprehension Sword and the others. Even the other disciples of the sect were shocked. The two golden crows on the Fusang tree immediately straightened their necks and looked in the same direction. Their eyes were filled with hostility. What's that sound? What's that sound? What's going on? Did someone's tribulation transcendence fail? I don't know. It seems to be coming from outside the sect. Damn it, I almost developed a mental demon. I was refining a weapon. My precious materials are all ruined. Could it be an enemy attack? The disciples of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect were shocked. The elders also came out of seclusion and surveyed the surroundings. Han Ju noticed the abnormality of the two little golden crows and couldn't help but follow their gaze. However, he couldn't see any divine beasts or demon beasts. The surrounding mountains and rivers of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect were also in good condition. There were no signs of damage. It was obvious that the previous explosion had come from far away. Han Ju used the simulation test to check the area within 100 miles. He didn't find any demon beasts or divine beasts. He didn't let down his guard and waited patiently. Soon, Daoist 9 Cauldrons and Li Qingzi arrived to ask about the situation. Han Ju shook his head and said, I don't know what happened either. The Black Hell Chicken, Sun Chang'an, Dao Comprehension Sword, and the others tactfully did not mention the abnormality of the Fusang tree. They were loyal to Han Ju and not to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. I hope there won't be another disaster, Li Qingzi said worriedly. He had been busy cultivating recently. After breaking through to the soul formation realm, his cultivation level could no longer increase, making him very worried. Even if the immortal mountain was filled with abundant spirit chi, his cultivation potential was limited. Don't worry. With me around, nothing will happen to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Go back and manage the sect. Don't panic, Han Ju said. Daoist 9 Cauldrons and Li Qingzi nodded and did not disturb him anymore. After they left, Han Ju looked at the sky again. What was it? The Fusang tree shook every night after the world rumbled, but the source never came. This continued for half a year. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better experience. Daoist 9 Cauldrons came again. Half a year ago, the loud noise came from the demons. An ancient ferocious beast called the three-headed Wirm King was born. This Wirm has a mixed bloodline and has a pair of wings. He can control the wind and summon the rain. He has a savage nature and is not far from our great Yen, Daoist 9 Cauldrons said with a solemn expression. Three-headed Wirm King? Han Ju asked, did this beast unite the demons? That's not the case. It said that the demons also reject him as he's gluttonous. Back when he was a demon king, he would often eat the demons under him. The demons were unwilling to serve him. Han Ju heaved a sigh of relief. He had thought that the demons would be like the previous demonic path cultivators and start a world war. Fortunately, the three-headed Wirm King did not have the demon support. Then came the question. The Fusang tree was shaking, which meant that the three-headed Wirm King was after the tree. Why hadn't the three-headed Wirm King come yet? Wariness? Or was he plotting something? Han Ju couldn't figure it out. In that case, he could only use the Book of Misfortune to solve it. Daoist 9 Cauldrons also talked about the recent development of the sect. He intended to nurture Murong Qi as the eldest disciple. He would have the authority to command the entire sect's disciples. Other than his status being inferior to the elders, his actual authority would be higher. Han Ju had no objections and let Daoist 9 Cauldrons do as he pleased. Murong Qi had truly given Daoist 9 Cauldrons a pleasant surprise. He hadn't expected this child's potential to be so terrifying. Daoist 9 Cauldrons even wondered if the other disciples under Han Ju were as powerful as him. However, he didn't dare to ask. It was already good enough that Han Ju could make Murong Qi work for the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. After Daoist 9 Cauldrons left, Han Ju took out the Book of Misfortune and started to curse the three-headed Wirm King. Great Yen North Region. The demon king Dian Su knelt on the snow, trembling. In front of him, amidst the flying snow, 3 pairs of scarlet eyes stared at him. The eyes were even larger than demon king Dian Su himself. The being's true form was definitely massive. The direction you speak of might lead to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. I'd advise you to give up on that idea, Demon King Dian Su said with a trembling voice. The fear that this demon gave him reminded him of Great Sage Green Python. In fact, he was even stronger. It was the three-headed Wirm King. A hoarse voice followed, "Is the Jade Pure Sacred Sect very powerful?" Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Very strong. There might be an immortal living there. Nonsense. How can immortals live in the mortal world? In any case, they're very strong. In the entire world, the Jade Pure Sacred Sect is definitely the most terrifying place. I even think that the Heavenly Immortal Manor is not as terrifying as the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. The three-headed Wirm King fell silent. He was originally sleeping underground, absorbing the spirit qi of the land. However, as the Fusang tree continued to grow, he was finally awakened from his slumber. He broke through the surface, seeking the treasure that had attracted him. But for some reason, as he hurried along, he felt inexplicably terrified. He felt that he would die if he went. Thus, the three-headed Wirm King did not dare to rashly go forward. He slowed down and asked the demons along the way. He received a unified answer. If there was a treasure in the Great Yen that attracted him, it had to be in the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. If it's the Jade Pure Sacred Sect, don't go. Previously, when Zhu Do had flown into the Great Yen towards the Jade Pure Sacred Sect, it died. Previously, when Great Sage Green Python had struck the Jade Pure Sacred Sect with unstoppable force, it died. These things might have been forgotten in the human race, but among the demons, they were still terrifying legends. Is the Jade Pure Sacred Sect really that strong? The three-headed Wirm King silently thought. He was at the 6th level of the Mahayana realm. Who in the world could kill him? But that sense of unease didn't go away. Dian Su was uneasy, afraid that the three-headed Wirm King would become angry and eat him. Finally, the three-headed Wirm King left. Dian Su heaved a sigh of relief. 13 years passed. The source of this content is Light Novel World. Han Ju broke through to the 3rd level of the Mahayana realm. The Fusang tree also shook for 13 years. Han Ju even suspected that it did that on purpose. It could be a predatory action. Like a man-eating flower. With the 2 golden crows around, the demons and divine beasts in the mortal world would probably not dare to come. However, Han Ju was still very cautious. Every once in a while, he would check on the Jade Pure Sacred Sect to prevent demons from infiltrating. After breaking through, Han Ju consolidated his cultivation and tested the highest cultivation level in the sect. Three-headed Wirm King, 6th level of the Mahayana realm, descendant of a true dragon, he was finally here. Han Ju narrowed his eyes. A descendant of a true dragon? Someone with a background? Han Ju first selected the three-headed Wirm King for a simulation trial. This fellow was too weak. He was insta-killed. Han Ju started to test the Wirm's location. Immediately, he was speechless. The three-headed Wirm king turned into a young male disciple and knelt at the foot of the immortal mountain with several disciples, wanting to become Han Ju's disciple. Ever since Sun Chang'an, Murong Qi, and Fang Liang succeeded, there were always disciples kneeling at the foot of the mountain. They didn't dare to make any noise and quietly kowtowed. Especially with Murong Qi's rise, the disciples idolized the deity-slaying elder even more. What's this guy doing? Han Ju touched his chin and thought. Forget it. Let him continue kneeling. Then, Han Ju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. A year later. The three-headed Wirm king was still kowtowing. Han Ju felt that he couldn't continue like this, so he asked Sun Chang'an to fetch him into the cave abode. To prevent anything from happening to Sun Chang'an, he told the two golden crows to land on his shoulders to protect him. The source of this content is Light Novel World. The golden crows were at the 7th level of the Mahayana realm. Would they be unable to defeat a 6th level Mahayana realm cultivator? On the way down the mountain, Sun Chang'an's body stiffened. His steps were very unnatural. On the way down the mountain, Sun Chang'an's body stiffened. His steps were very unnatural. The two golden crows were on his shoulders. He was truly afraid. If the two of them accidentally ignited the true sun flame, he would instantly be a goner. Passing halfway up the mountain, Yang Tiandong, who was cultivating, asked curiously, "Junior, where are you going?" "Master said that there's a promising talent at the foot of the mountain and asked me to bring him up," Sun Chang'an answered truthfully. Yang Tiandong frowned slightly. "Another disciple?" "No. This time, I want to take in a disciple too." Yang Tiandong coveted Murong Qi and Fang Liang's potential. He also wanted such disciples. "I'll go with you." "Of course." Sun Chang'an wasn't stupid. He could guess what Yang Tiandong was thinking, but he didn't care. To be honest, he really did not want to accept a disciple. He felt useless. His disciples were also taught by his master, anyway. His disciples clearly respected his master more. If one day, Han Ju asked Murong Qi and Fang Liang to kill him, he believed that these two brats would definitely not hesitate. The fellow disciples arrived at the foot of the mountain with their own thoughts. Sun Chang'an opened the formation and called the three-headed Wirm king in. The other disciples looked at the Wirm with envy and jealousy. The three-headed Wirm king saw the two fire ravens on Sun Chang'an's shoulders and its heart beat wildly. The two little golden crows stared at it with hostility. "What birds are these? Making me afraid." The three-headed Wirm king's heart churned. In this mortal world, this was the first time he had encountered a creature whose bloodline made him shiver. Most importantly, Yang Tiandong and Sun Chang'an were so weak. How did they obtain these two mysterious fire ravens? "May I ask who is the deity-slaying elder?" The three-headed Wirm king asked cautiously. Sun Chang'an said expressionlessly, "The deity-slaying elder is our master. You're not qualified to see him." Yang Tiandong smiled and said, "Don't worry, Junior. Master wants us to bring you up. He definitely thinks highly of you. For more, visit Light Novel World." The two's attitudes were completely different, making the three-headed Wirm king extremely confused. The three-headed Wirm king could only suppress his doubts and follow the two up the mountain. The two little golden crows kept staring at him, making him extremely uncomfortable. Before long, they arrived at the top of the mountain. When the three-headed Wirm king saw the Fusang tree, it was immediately stunned. This was definitely what he was looking for. The three-headed Wirm king suppressed his excitement. He noticed a black chicken perched on the Fusang tree and a white dog under the tree. These are the deity-slaying elder's beast pets. From today onwards, you will cultivate under the tree. As for whether you can become my disciple, that will depend on your performance. After saying this, Sun Chang'an walked to the edge of the cliff and looked up at the sky. His back was extremely desolate, like a beaten dog. In the past few years, he would always think of Qian'er, causing him to be unable to concentrate on cultivation. The tribulation cast by the divine Buddha was not something that a mortal heart could withstand. The three-headed Wirm king walked to the Fusang tree and sat down. The two little golden crows climbed up the tree again and continued to stare at him. Yang Tiandong sat beside him and started chatting with him. As a senior, Yang Tiandong began to describe his experiences over the years, wanting to make the three-headed Wirm king worship him. Although the three-headed Wirm king was very unhappy, he still had to endure. The more he listened, the more disdainful he became. Demon King Jiansu. A coward from the north of the Great Yen. The three-headed Wirm king was restless. He wanted to seize the Fusang tree, but he didn't know the deity-slaying elder's cultivation level, so he was very hesitant. Logically speaking, if he could raise the two mysterious fire ravens, this deity-slaying elder must be very strong. I'll wait for a while. The three-headed Wirm king sighed in his heart. Several years later. In the cave abode, 3 lines of words appeared in front of Hanju. Detected that you are already 700 years old. You have taken another step forward in life. You have the following choices: 1. Leave seclusion immediately and become the number 1 in the world. You can obtain a numinous treasure. This content is taken from Light Novel World. 2. Continue cultivating and surpass the Mahayana realm as soon as possible. You can obtain a heavenly Tao spirit stone. Hanju didn't hesitate and chose to continue cultivating. The heavenly Tao spirit stone was not bad. It could strengthen Dharma treasures. Hanju took out the heavenly Tao spirit stone and selected the Book of Misfortune. The Book of Misfortune was the only Dharma treasure that could remotely harm the enemies of the upper world. It was worth strengthening. Several days later, it successfully fused with the heavenly Tao spirit stone. Your Book of Misfortune has been upgraded from a Supreme-grade Grand Unity Numinous Treasure to a Grand Unity Supreme Treasure. The Book of Misfortune is a Karma Dharma treasure. Please use it cautiously. Grand Unity Supreme Treasure. Hanju raised his eyebrows and suddenly regretted his choice. Would the Book of Misfortune hurt him instead? Hanju carefully used the Book of Misfortune and cursed Daoist Juyan. He didn't dare to use too much spirit energy. He wanted to test the effect first. 7 days later. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune because he noticed that his lifespan had decreased by dozens of years. It seemed that he couldn't use it for more than 7 days at once, or his lifespan would be shortened. He clicked on his interpersonal link to check his emails. Your disciple Fang Liang was attacked by demon beasts, X97884, your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X170210, your granddisciple Murong Qi has barged into the demon abyss. His fate is unknown. Your good friend Imo Fuzhou has absorbed the soul of a ghost deity and transformed his providence. Your good friend Zhou Fan is being hunted by 10 sections. He's condensing his killing intent. Your Tao companion Xing Hongxian has comprehended an ancient breathing technique. Your good friend Chang Yuer has comprehended an ancient breathing technique. Your enemy Daoist Juyan had his lifespan reduced by 10,000 years because of your curse, giving birth to mental demons. Your grand disciple Fang Liang accidentally entered the heavenly immortal Manor's forbidden land and consumed the 10,000-year sacred fruit. His cultivation potential has increased by leaps and bounds. Hanju was amused when he saw Daoist Juyan's outcome. He felt that he could curse him to death. Updated from Light Novel World. Calm losing several decades of lifespan could reduce Daoist Juyan's lifespan by 10,000 years. Too ridiculous. However, Hanju did not want to take the risk. Although he had a lifespan of more than 100,000 years, if he kept doing this, he would eventually harm himself. Next time, he could only curse for 6 days at most, no more than that. He would slowly grind Daoist Juyin and the vermilion bird to death. Han Ju thought proudly. He placed his attention outside the cave abode. The three-headed Wirm king was still cultivating under the Fusang tree with Yang Tiandong beside him. All these years, the three-headed Wirm king had been very well behaved. Han Ju decided to tell him the truth. Go out and call the new kid in. You'll come back in when he's out, Han Ju instructed. Dao Comprehension Sword immediately stood up and left. After hearing Dao Comprehension Sword's message, the three-headed Wirm king felt inexplicably nervous. Yang Tiandong patted his shoulder and smiled. The opportunity is here. Master wants to impart his mystical power to you. The three-headed Wirm king secretly despised him, but on the surface, he chuckled and nodded. He carefully entered the cave abode. Boom, the cave abode's stone door closed, making the Wirm even more nervous. The three-headed Wirm king knelt down in front of Han Ju. The moment he saw Han Ju, he was stunned. What a handsome man! It was his first time seeing such a beautiful face. TSK. What am I thinking? The three-headed Wirm king felt as if he had been infected by Yang Tiandong, his mind was no longer normal. With that thought, he hated Yang Tiandong even more. Han Ju said expressionlessly, three-headed Wirm king, 6th level of the Mahayana realm. I'll give you 2 choices now. 1. Become a mountain guardian on my cultivate diligently become immortal mountain. You can cultivate under the divine tree. 2. Die. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better experience. The three-headed Wirm king suddenly raised his head and looked at him in shock. He knows my identity and cultivation level. He knows my identity and cultivation level. How can this be? The three-headed Wirm king's heart churned. He had an innate mystical power that allowed him to hide his cultivation level and true body. Why was he still discovered by the deity-slaying elder? What did that mean? It meant that the other party was far stronger than him. Han Ju spoke very calmly and didn't seem to be bluffing. The three-headed Wirm king had a feeling that if he stood up, he would definitely be killed. There wasn't even a chance to escape. Han Ju stared at him expressionlessly, waiting for his answer. As long as the three-headed Wirm king dared to say no or flee, he would die. The Fusang tree was already exposed. News of this divine tree could not be spread. Han Ju wasn't afraid of offending the true dragon behind the three-headed Wirm king. Dragons were passionate and liked spreading their seeds. Who knew how many descendants there were? The three-headed Wirm king gritted his teeth and asked, "Who exactly are you, senior?" Han Ju said, "I come from the 6 paths of reincarnation. I don't enter the 5 elements or fall into reincarnation." The three-headed Wirm king didn't know what he was saying, but it sounded impressive. He still hesitated. Was he going to be a watchdog now? Han Ju asked, "Do you think I'm scaring you? If not, you can receive my finger attack. If you can survive, you should give up." "No, no, no." The three-headed Wirm king hurriedly waved his hands, almost frightened to death. He immediately lowered his head and gritted his teeth. "From now on, I, the three-headed Wirm king, will be Senior's mountain guardian. As long as I live, the mountain will remain." Han Ju got up and came in front of him. He raised his hand to touch his head and secretly placed the 6 paths insignia. "You won't suffer if you follow me. This will be the greatest opportunity in your life," Han Ju said softly. The three-headed Wirm king hurriedly thanked him. The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. But no favorability appeared. Great. I still have to observe you later. If I sense anything wrong, I'll kill you. Hanju thought silently. Then, he had the three-headed Wirm king leave the cave abode. He transmitted his voice to the two little golden crows as he stared at the Wirm. The little golden crow yearned to eat the three-headed Wirm king, but the three-headed Wirm king didn't do anything bad and didn't develop any hatred towards him. Hanju felt that he could nurture it. When he surpassed the vermilion bird and ascended, he would definitely have to take the Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain with him. At that point, his disciples and grand-disciples might also reach the threshold of ascension. The stronger the power of the immortal mountain, the better. The three-headed Wirm king returned to the Fusang tree. Yang Tiandong asked in surprise, so fast? The moment he saw Yang Tiandong, the three-headed Wirm king became annoyed. He said with a snort, "Humph, from now on, I'm the mountain guardian of Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain." Mountain guardian? That's right. I'm a three-headed Wirm king at the 6th level of the Mahayana realm. I'm not pretending anymore. Get lost. What? Yang Tiandong was shocked. The Black Hell Chicken, Dao Comprehension Sword, Sun Chang'an, and the chaotic heavenly dog looked at him in surprise. The Wirm's head suddenly split into three, scaring Yang Tiandong so much that he tumbled away. Upon seeing his reaction, the three-headed Wirm king was overjoyed. Demon King Dian Su was as weak as you when facing me, the three-headed Wirm king said proudly. Yang Tiandong felt extremely ashamed and wished that he could find a hole to hide in. Hanju witnessed everything in the cave abode and didn't say anything. He was very satisfied that the three-headed Wirm king had revealed his identity. At the very least, it meant that the Wirm did not care about his reputation. Furthermore, it could also make others wary of him. Hanju entered his cultivation state again. Inside a Taoist temple, sandalwood fragrance pervaded the air like immortal mist. An old Taoist cultivating in meditation suddenly spat out blood and became dispirited. He opened his eyes and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. With a sinister expression, he gritted his teeth and said, "Damn it! Who cursed me? How many years had it been?" The mysterious curse had only grown stronger. He couldn't even remember how many times he had been cursed. That's right. He was Taoist Juyan, the master of Great Sage Green Python, Luo Chima's master, and Hanju's enemy. Although Taoist Juyan was cursing, he was even more fearful. The other party was definitely an almighty figure. The recent curse had even begun to affect his Tao foundation. How could that be? If this continued, would he be cursed to death? Taoist Juyan gritted his teeth. He took out a jade slip from his sleeve and poured his spirit energy into it. After a while, a figure rose from the jade slip. His entire body emitted a green glow, making it impossible to see his true appearance and clothes. What is it? Senior, I've been cursed. Let me calculate. Taoist Juyan waited uneasily. The green figure said in surprise, "I can't even deduce it. Have you offended anyone?" Taoist Juyan felt wronged and said, "Ever since I ascended, I've been in seclusion. How can I offend anyone?" How strange, the green figure muttered to himself. Taoist Juyan was even more terrified. If even this senior couldn't figure it out, wouldn't he be dead? Recently, the heavenly court was attacked by a demon saint. The devil race took the opportunity to disturb many mortal worlds. You have just ascended for thousands of years. It might be related to the providence in the mortal world. At most, it will take 1,000 years. When the heavenly court recovers, it will cleanse the forces of the demons in the mortal realm. Some of the mortal worlds have been corroded by the devil race. When the time comes, we have to clean it up. I will use this opportunity to make you a heavenly soldier. Seize the opportunity well. The azure figure spoke. His words surprised Daoist Juyin. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better experience. Daoist Juyin immediately said, the mortal world I lived in was invaded by the devil race. I was planning to descend into the mortal world a few hundred years later to take a look. It's good to descend into the mortal world and understand the situation. When the time comes, I can provide information to the heavenly court. The azure figure vanished. Daoist Juyin carefully put the jade slip away. Damn devils, how dare they curse me? Daoist Juyin thought hatefully that when he descended to the mortal world, he would definitely destroy their plot. Spring passed and autumn came. 11 years passed quickly. Hanju successfully broke through to the 6th level of the Mahayana realm. On this day, Fong Liang returned. The Black Hell Chicken, the Chaotic Heavenly Dog, Sun Chang'an, Morong Qi, Dao Comprehension Sword, and Yang Tiandong surrounded him. Fong Liang had actually reached the Void Amalgamation realm. Everyone was shocked. Morong Qi was stuck at the 9th level of the Soul Formation realm. He thought that his progress was already ridiculous, but he didn't expect Fong Liang to be even more exaggerated. The Black Hell Chicken was depressed. What it had been worried about had finally happened. It was very likely that it could not defeat the combined forces of Fong Liang and Morong Qi. Sun Chang'an was also depressed. He had finally been left behind by his disciple. Yang Tiandong's envy turned into jealousy. He also wanted such a disciple. The Chaotic Heavenly Dog was dumbfounded. Even the ugly monk's disciple is stronger than me. I've encountered many opportunities in the past few years. That's why I'm in my current realm. Fong Liang smiled humbly. But it was obvious that he had changed. He was more confident than before. The three-headed Wirm king was disdainful. A mere cultivator at the Void Amalgamation realm could shock them so much. The two little golden crows suddenly landed on Fong Liang's shoulders and rubbed themselves against his face affectionately. Follow current novels on Light Novel World. Fong Liang asked curiously, these two are? The Black Hell Chicken smiled slyly. I gave birth to them. Previously, Master caught a fire raven for me. Before it could finish speaking, the two little golden crows turned to look at it, scaring it so much that it dared not speak. Junior, long time no see. Why don't we join forces to fight the Black Hell Chicken? Junior, long time no see. Why don't we join forces to fight the Black Hell Chicken? Morong Qi winked. He couldn't stand the chicken's posturing. Fong Liang smiled. Sure. Even after so many years, the Black Hell Chicken was still so contemptible. The Black Hell Chicken yawned and pretended not to hear them. Everyone sat down and started chatting. Fong Liang recounted his experiences over the years. He fought demons, devils, and ghosts. Now, he had become a genius of the heavenly immortal manner. He was extremely famous. The three-headed Wirm king pretended not to care, but in reality, it was also eavesdropping. This kid's talent is so terrifying. The three-headed Wirm king was secretly shocked. The deity-slaying elder has such talented people under him. It seemed that other than Yang Tiandong, everyone else was very talented. At the same time, a line of words appeared in front of Hanju. Three-headed Wirm king has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 2 stars. Hanju felt that there was something wrong with the three-headed Wirm king. There was something wrong with his head. This favorability came out of nowhere. Hanju didn't care too much. He was also eavesdropping on Fong Liang's experience. If Su Qi was the male protagonist of a rags-to-riches xianxia novel, then Fong Liang was in a self-fulfillment fantasy. In the past few years, the number of times he had been severely injured could be counted on one hand. Most of the time, he had been rampaging everywhere, and opportunities had been presented to him one by one. Everyone sighed. Fang Liang was really impressive. Even Murong Qi was impressed. Several hours later, Fang Liang stood up and went to visit Han Ju. After entering the cave abode, Fang Liang knelt in front of Han Ju. He was very excited and even had the urge to cry. Han Ju smiled and said, "How does this training feel? Visit Light Novel World." "Calm for a better experience," Fang Liang said excitedly. "I finally understand Grandmaster's good intentions. Such training has indeed transformed me. I became a genius in the heavenly immortal manner and felt that I had already obtained all the opportunities one could. There was no need for any more opportunities, so I came back. I still want to cultivate in front of Grandmaster and cultivate the great Tao." After reaching the void amalgamation realm, Fang Liang indeed had no requirement for fortuitous encounters. Currently, he had cultivation techniques, mystical powers, spells, treasures, and so on. He only needed to constantly accumulate cultivation. The two chatted for a long time. Fang Liang left and went to the Fusang tree to find a spot to meditate. Dao Comprehension Sword returned to the cave abode and looked at Han Ju. "Master, do you think I should go out and train?" Fang Liang's experience made everyone excited. They also wanted to obtain various opportunities. Han Ju asked, "Why do you want to train?" "You can obtain opportunities by training." "What's the use of opportunities?" "I can become stronger." "What's the point of becoming stronger?" "To protect Master." "I need your protection." Dao Comprehension Sword thought about it carefully. He seemed to be right. She tilted her head and asked, "Then, what's the meaning of my existence, Master?" Han Ju said seriously, "Companionship. You only need to cultivate steadily and keep up with everyone's pace." Dao Comprehension Sword couldn't help but be overjoyed when she heard that. Her smile became even more beautiful. In Han Ju's opinion, as long as Dao Comprehension Sword cultivated in peace, she would become an immortal sooner or later. There was no need to go out and explore. Besides, not everyone's training had the same effect. There was only one Fang Liang in this world. In the end, no one suggested training to Han Ju. Especially the young Tiandong and the chaotic heavenly dog. They were truly afraid. They dared not go out again. Cultivating on the immortal mountain was not too boring. When they had nothing to do, they could chat, discuss, and even fight. Han Ju even allowed them to wander around the inner sect city. That was already very good. At the same time, his disciples and divine pets were worried. They were worried that Han Ju would ascend. With the strength he displayed, he was not far from ascending. What would they do when he ascended? Under Murong Qi's call, everyone decided to cultivate hard and strive to ascend with Han Ju. Han Ju had a better impression of Murong Qi after this. Not only was Murong Qi talented and heroic, but he also had the ability to lead. Not bad, not bad. As expected of the former divine palace war god. As a god of war, not only was his cultivation strong, but he was also the commander of an army. 19 years later. Han Ju broke through to the 7th level of the Mahayana realm. His calm heart finally stirred. 7th level of the Mahayana realm. He was close to the upper limit. At most, it would take him 20 years to cross a minor realm. Perhaps, he would surpass the Mahayana realm in 50 years. Awesome! Han Ju took out the Book of Misfortune and started to curse Vermilion Bird. He had tested that as long as the curse did not last more than 6 days, it would not consume his lifespan. He pulled up his interpersonal relationships and checked his emails. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou was attacked by righteous cultivators, X5427. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X74200. Your good friend Ji Xianchen has gained enlightenment of the grand unity mystical power, causing a huge commotion. Your good friend Huang Jihao has condensed the heart of the sword. His sword intent is extraordinary. Your good friend Daoist Nine Cauldrons was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X743, your pet black hell chicken has awakened the mystical power of its previous life. Your enemy Vermilion Bird has developed a mental demon because of your curses. This content is taken from Light Novel World. Calm. Apart from Mo Fuzhou and Zhou Fan, who were brothers in adversity, the others had been attacked several times. Han Ju glanced at them. Most of them were news of opportunities. He was puzzled. Have these friends been on steroids all these years? For some reason, Han Ju felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Something was wrong. As a Mahayana realm cultivator, premonitions were often real. This was his comprehension of the heavenly Tao. No. I have to ask my good brother. Han Ju started to comprehend sword intent. His reincarnation sword intent had not been upgraded yet. It was great timing now. A month later. Strange phenomena appeared in the sky. The cultivators of the world were very calm, but the mortals were surprised. To mortals, decades were a lifetime. It was a rare phenomenon. Han Ju came to the Sword Dao River again and quickly arrived in front of Zhang Guxing. What do you want to ask this time? Ever since Han Ju started to frequently appear, Zhang Guxing would occasionally wonder when that brat would come. He even suspected that he was ill. Senior, recently, many people with great providence have appeared in our mortal world, and they all obtained opportunities during the same time. Do you think this is reasonable? Han Ju asked. Zhang Guxing said, it's normal for there to be people with great providence in the mortal world. There are also many with great providence in the upper world. However, those with great providence are not equivalent to experts. Experts might not necessarily have great providence. You might be overthinking this. Han Ju frowned. But I feel uneasy. Zhang Guxing hesitated for a moment and said, there's indeed a possibility. People experience terminal lucidity, and so does the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao in the mortal world might have sensed that trouble is about to descend. This is the heavenly Tao's act of saving itself. There's trouble in the mortal world. Han Ju felt even more uneasy. Zhang Guxing continued, now that I think about it, I understand something. It might be related to the invasion of the devil race. The heavenly court might want to purge them for good. At that time, the immortals and gods would descend into the mortal world. If the devil race has taken over and the demonic path prevails, the heavenly court might directly destroy this mortal world. Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Although the heavenly Tao is bound by rules, never think too simply of it. Destroy the mortal world. Destroy the mortal world. Han Ju was shocked. So vicious. He quickly asked, can heavenly court still be considered as heavenly court by doing this? They could easily destroy an entire mortal world. It was simply inhumane. So what? There are tens of thousands of mortal worlds. Destroying one mortal world won't cause much of a stir in the upper world. Besides, if the mortal world is destroyed, all living beings can still enter the 6 paths of reincarnation and be reincarnated. Think about it, how many races have the mortals wiped out? When mortals think about the heavenly court, they shouldn't think of themselves as the main focus. Zhang Guxing waved his hand, feeling that Han Ju's idea was a little ridiculous. Han Ju felt that it made sense. To put it bluntly, it was still survival of the fittest. Whoever set the rules had the final say. Han Ju asked, how long until the heavenly court cleans up the devils? Zhang Guxing replied, it can be as short as a few hundred years or as long as a few thousand years. The forces behind the demon saint are about to reach an agreement with the heavenly court. Unfortunately, that demon saint is still kept in the dark. Han Ju's expression turned strange, and he asked, is that demon saint the great sage rivaling heaven, Sun Wukong? No. Oh. For a second, Hanju thought that he had come to the world of Journey to the West. The two of them exchanged some pleasantries before Hanju continued forward. After his consciousness returned to his main body, Hanju consolidated his understanding of the reincarnation sword intent. The reincarnation sword intent had also successfully been raised to the grand unity level. His strength could only be said to be more comprehensive, and the intensity of his attacks had not increased. He still had to raise his cultivation level. Follow current novels on Light Novel World. Calm after consolidating his sword intent, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started to curse Vermilion Bird and Daoist Juyin. No matter what he achieved, he couldn't forget his true goal and enemies. 12 days later, Hanju continued cultivating. The pressure brought by the heavenly court was immense. Hanju hadn't felt such pressure for a long time. During this time, he brought Fang Liang into the cave abode. The heavenly court of the upper world is preparing to hunt down the devils. Our mortal world has been invaded by the devils, and we will likely be treated as a subsidiary force of the devils by the heavenly court. We will be wiped out, and all the living beings in the world will be slaughtered. We will be reincarnated after death. If you want to avoid this calamity, you have to inform the heavenly immortal manner and get them to call on the cultivation world to eradicate the forces of the devils and rid them of suspicion. Don't mention me. Just say that you were taught by a land deity, Hanju said seriously. Hearing that, Fang Liang's eyes widened. Dao Comprehension Sword also opened her eyes. Fang Liang's expression changed drastically. Grandmaster, is this true? When will the heavenly court take action? At most 1,000 years. Remember. Recently, many prodigies have obtained great opportunities. These are the final moments of the heavenly Tao in the mortal world. It wants to rely on the power of all lives to protect the world. I'll immediately send a message to the heavenly immortal manor. I won't tell anyone that it was Grandmaster. Fang Liang left anxiously. Dao Comprehension Sword asked curiously, Master, how do you know about the upper world? Hanju said, I'm related to the upper world. What relationship? I can't say. Hanju closed his eyes and didn't say anything else. In Dao Comprehension Sword's mind, his image rose again. 2 years later. Fang Liang received a reply saying that the heavenly immortal manor had already accepted his suggestion and started to inform the sects in the world. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better experience. Less than 3 years later, Daoist 9 cauldrons came to visit. Hanju noticed that his qi and blood were a little chaotic. He had been beaten up a lot during his training in the past few years. Elder Han, the heavenly immortal manor has summoned all the sects in the world to hunt down the demonic path. They said that because of the invasion of the devils, the immortals and gods feel that our mortal world has already become the mortal world of the devil race. I'm afraid that we will suffer the wrath of the heavens, and the mortals will have to save themselves. As the number 1 holy land of the Great Yen, our Jade Pure Sacred Sect also received a letter from the heavenly immortal manor. What do you think we should do? Daoist 9 cauldrons was vexed. What was happening? In his opinion, the heavenly immortal manor was bullshitting. Hanju said seriously, this is true. If the Jade Pure Sacred Sect can help, so be it. How could mortals resist the heavenly court, the overlord of the upper world? They could only try their best to cut ties with the devil race. When Daoist 9 cauldrons heard that, he couldn't help but be moved. Even Hanju said so. It seemed to be true. He didn't say anything else and quickly left. Hanju had a favorable impression of the heavenly immortal manor. The heavenly immortal manor actually believed it. If this was in some novels, they would definitely not believe it. This would lead to a calamity, forcing the protagonist to rely on himself. After saving the world, all the people in the world would be shocked. The Holy Lands would feel regret and respect for the protagonist. Cough cough. Hanju thought about it and felt naive again. Perhaps the heavenly immortal manor had a connection with the upper world. After all, countless people had ascended in the past. Some people would definitely reminisce about the past and might secretly leak the news to the heavenly immortal manor. As a holy land, it was impossible for the heavenly immortal manor to believe the words of a mysterious person for no reason. No matter what, with the heavenly immortal manor and other holy lands taking over, Hanju could cultivate in peace. Besides cultivating, Hanju would also pay attention to Mo Zhu and the other two. More and more members of the Mo clan came along. Mo Fuzhou and the others did not have any intention of fighting. They only wanted to find a place to hide. However, Mo Fuzhou's demonic aura was too strong, and he often encountered attacks from righteous cultivators. Because of his personal feelings, Hanju was also worried that Mo Zhu and Mo Fuzhou would meet with misfortune. However, he had already persuaded them. Everyone had their own life to live. Follow current novels on Light Novel World. It was impossible for Hanju to take in the entire Mo family onto his cultivate diligently become immortal mountain. Once he did that, his disciples would beg him to take in more people. In the mortal world, who would not have feelings? Who would not have people they cared about? In the dark cave, Patriarch Blood Fiend, White-haired Fiend Lady, and Fiendish Arhat sat together. A ball of demonic chi floated between them. With all the righteous powers working together, the demonic path will suffer greatly. At this rate, it won't take more than a few hundred years for the demonic path to be completely eradicated, much less revived. A cold voice came from within the demonic chi, there's no need to be afraid. Soon, I'll send a batch of true devils over. At that time, I'll massacre the heavenly immortal manor and intimidate the righteous path. With that, the demonic chi dissipated. Fiendish Arhat frowned and asked, "Didn't Senior Juyin tell us not to interfere in the matters of the devil race?" White-haired Fiend Lady shook her head. "It's not that we want to interfere, but if we wait any longer, before Senior Juyin descends into the mortal world, we'll probably die at the hands of Ji Xianxian. Against the current Ji Xianxian, even if the three of us join forces, we won't be his match." Fiendish Arhat fell silent. Patriarch Blood Fiend sighed. "We've become pawns. Our ambitions are not worth mentioning. It's the best outcome if we can survive. Even if we want to ascend, there's no place for us to transcend the tribulation now. The heavenly immortal manor is watching us too closely. The only thing we can do now is to seek the help of the devil race." The once awe-inspiring three fiends of the demonic path smiled bitterly and sighed. Ascension required time. If they were attacked during the tribulation transcendence, they might die. Patriarch Blood Fiend Ascension tribulation was interrupted earlier. Fiendish Arhat gritted his teeth. Damn it. Did the Demon Lord ascend because she knew certain information? When she ascended, the heavenly immortal manor did not interfere. Why is it that when we tried? The mention of the Demon Lord infuriated the fiends. Visit Light Novel World. For the best novel reading experience. If you could ascend, why didn't you bring us along? 12 years later. 12 years later. Hanju broke through to the 8th level of the Mahayana realm. With pressure, he had motivation. His cultivation speed was even faster than before. After breaking through, Hanju habitually took out the Book of Misfortune. He cursed and checked the emails. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X4729. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X110332. Your disciple Morong Qi was attacked by righteous cultivators, X78. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X74110. Your good friend Daoist 9 Cauldrons was attacked by a fiendish cultivator, X85. Your disciple Fang Liang comprehended the heavenly Tao while cultivating. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your Tao companion Xian Qingjun has received a divine providence. Your good friend Dooku was attacked by a loose immortal. His life is hanging by a thread. The entire backlog was filled with fiendish cultivators. But this time, it was not the demonic path that swept through the world. Instead, it was being hunted down like a beaten dog. Han Ju didn't pity them. He was not a saint. The righteous and demonic paths were irreconcilable. When the fiends had swept through the righteous path, many sects had been massacred and many people had been killed by fiendish cultivators. Perhaps there was some scum in the righteous path, but the demonic path was not slandered either. As for the righteous and demonic paths joining forces to resist the heavenly court, that was too ridiculous and impossible of an idea. The heavenly court had always been on the side of the righteous path, equivalent to the superior of the righteous path. Now, the superior suspected that his subordinates were colluding with the enemy, and in order to survive, his subordinates had to collude with the enemy. Not to mention, even if the righteous and demonic paths joined forces, they still couldn't stop heavenly court. If they did that, would the righteous path still be the righteous path? Han Ju didn't place all his hopes on the righteous path. He still had to become stronger. If the heavenly court insisted on destroying the mortal world, he had to have the ability to protect himself. At most, he would bring the cultivate diligently become immortal mountain and hide in the netherworld. The source of this content is light novel world. Han Ju could still jump to other realms. After all, he had chosen the path of the sword immortal of reincarnation. However, he could only head to another realm by himself and could not bring anyone else with him. Furthermore, he didn't understand the other realms at all, so he couldn't choose where to go. In other words, once he used the reincarnation mystical power, the destination would be quite random. Unless he had no choice, he wouldn't jump to another realm. If he jumped into the devil world, wouldn't he suffer? Han Ju silently thought that he still had many ways to survive. He secretly prayed that the demon saint would cause more trouble and not let the heavenly court recover in a short time. After the curse ended, Han Ju continued cultivating. He only had one goal now, to reach the perfected 9th level of the Mahayana realm as soon as possible. A year later. A familiar voice entered Han Ju's ears, "Fellow Taoist Guan, come out. I won't challenge you this time." Ji Xianxian. Han Ju frowned. Why was this fellow here again? Han Ju thought for a moment and decided to go out and meet the guy to prevent him from causing trouble. It was still that forest. After not seeing him for decades, Ji Xianxian's aura had more than doubled. This fellow slaughtered fiendish cultivators everywhere and could still become stronger. It was simply unreasonable. Han Ju even suspected that he and Huang Jihao had a system that allowed them to level up by killing monsters. Why does my system not have this function? In certain novels, people could sign into random locations and become stronger wherever they went. As for Han Ju, he had to cultivate on his own. Han Ju sighed in his heart. Ji Xianxian looked at him and said with a burning gaze, "Fellow Taoist Guan, on behalf of the heavenly immortal manor, I invite you to join and become an elder of the manor. Are you willing? Thank you for your kind intentions, I'll pass." Why? No location is better than home. Follow new episodes on the light novel world. Com platform. Ji Xianxian was stunned by Han Ju's words. What was he saying? He continued, "The heavenly immortal manor discovered the barrier set up by the demonic path which is already connected to an unknown world. I'm afraid it's related to the devil race. Previously, we encountered a world created by them, and I even fought my way in. Are you interested in fighting the devil race with me? Typically, such a world contains cultivation resources given by the devil race to the demonic path. There might be treasures that you need." Han Ju asked in surprise, "Is the devil race so weak?" Hearing this, Ji Xianxian flew into a rage. "What do you mean?" Cough, cough. "I'm not belittling your heavenly immortal manor. No matter what, the devils should be stronger than mortals. Otherwise, why would the fiends respect them? The actual devil race is trapped in the netherworld, so they can only send some true devils to preach. The strongest ones we've encountered are around the 9th level of the Mahayana realm. I won't be going. I wish you all the best. Hanju shook his head. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave. Ji Xianxian pulled him back and asked, by the way, what does Fang Liang have to do with you? I saw him on the Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain. Hanju said, nothing much, he's just a guest. That's good. This lad is extremely talented. He might even be thought to be more talented than me. I'm prepared to recruit him. Oh, I remember now. He's my grand disciple. Ji Xianxian wanted to curse. No wonder Fang Liang was so absurdly talented. After living for more than 1,000 years, apart from Hanju, this was the first time that Ji Xianxian felt pressured. It was not pressure from strength, but talent. Fang Liang had risen too quickly. Even his master had reminded him, hoping that he could help Fang Liang. Humph. Goodbye. Ji Xianxian waved his sleeve and left. Hanju shook his head and returned to the cave abode. Under the Fusang tree, the three-headed Wirm king frowned. The others could not sense Ji Xianxian's aura, but he could. Very strong. The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. Such a powerful existence was like a child when facing Hanju. He was even more curious about Hanju's cultivation. 7 years later. Amidst cultivating, Hanju suddenly felt uneasy and opened his eyes. What happened? Why did he suddenly feel so uneasy? Hanju frowned. Dao Comprehension Sword opened her eyes. She asked, Master, do you feel uneasy? Hanju wondered, you feel it, too? What do you sense? I don't know. It's just depressing. Dao Comprehension Sword's answer made Hanju even more uneasy. Is Heavenly Court attacking? So fast. At this moment, 3 lines of words appeared in front of Hanju. Detected that the true devils have invaded the mortal world and a calamity will befall the mortal world. You have the following choices. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and kill all the true devils. Your name will shake the world. You can obtain a numinous treasure and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. 2. Continue cultivating and stay away from trouble. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance. True devils were invading. Hanju's eyebrows twitched. It turned out that the devil race had done something. His first reaction was to contact the heavenly puppet and ask Xing Hongxian, Fairy Shi Xian, and Chang Yuer to return to the sect immediately. It was the first time that the 3 girls had heard Hanju so eager for them to return. They immediately put down what they were doing and returned to the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Hanju silently chose the second option. To be able to cause a calamity, this batch of true devils had to be very strong. He couldn't take the risk. It was fine to make a move, but it would be best if he was confident enough. For more, visit Light Novel World. Hanju immediately checked if there were any true devils within 100 miles of the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Lu Yuxia, 9th level of the Mahayana realm, commander of the true devils. You chose to continue cultivating and stay away from trouble. You will obtain a mystical power inheritance. You chose to continue cultivating and stay away from trouble. You will obtain a mystical power inheritance. Congratulations on obtaining mystical power, invocation technique, inheritable mystical power, it can be passed on to others. When others use the invocation technique, they can summon you from afar. You can return to your original location within 2 hours using the invocation technique again. The 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju's eyes, but he ignored them and looked at the line of information regarding Lu Yuxia. Commander of the True Devils. How did he come so quickly? Is he coming for me, or did he appear around the Jade Pure Sacred Sect by coincidence? Han Ju frowned and became even more nervous. He immediately used the simulation trial to fight against Lu Yuxia. Too close. Instant kill. However, the aura emitted by Lu Yuxia in the battle was much stronger than that of Ji Xianchen and Xian Qingjun. Han Ju started to check Lu Yuxia's location. This fellow was less than 15 kilometers away from the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. He stood on a mountain peak and didn't move. This is a good opportunity to intimidate the three-headed Wirm king. Han Ju thought silently, then sent a voice transmission to the three-headed Wirm king. At the peak of the mountain, a black-robed figure stared into the distance. His hair was white and his face was demonic. He had a pair of double pupils, and his lips were so red that they were almost dripping blood. Under the sunlight, he looked terrifying. Lu Yuxia, a true devil of the devil race. This time, he brought dozens of true devils to the mortal world. The other true devils first gathered information on the heavenly immortal manor, while he was sent to the place with the greatest providence in the mortal world by the devil ancestor, who wanted him to destroy this place first. This way, the providence of the human race in the mortal world would greatly decrease, allowing them to proceed more smoothly. Lu Yuxia used his divine sense to scan the area. This sect was not strong and should not be the heavenly immortal manor. Why was it the place with the most providence in the mortal world? He couldn't figure it out and felt that there might be a trap. He didn't dare to act rashly. For more, visit Light Novel World. Calm at that moment, a figure sped over. It was the three-headed Wirm king. The sixth level of the Mahayana realm. Lu Yuxia frowned. The immortal mountain was enveloped by Han Ju's system barrier. Previously, when he scanned with his divine sense, he didn't notice the three-headed Wirm king. It was indeed a trap. This place looked weak, but it was actually the most terrifying place in the entire mortal world. The three-headed Wirm king took out a huge halberd and smiled sinisterly. "You're a true devil." Without another word, he brandished his halberd and attacked Lu Yuxia. Lu Yuxia stirred. How did he know that he was a true devil? Had the devil's plan been exposed? Lu Yuxia didn't have time to think too much and quickly started fighting with the Wirm. This was the fight of two Mahayana realm cultivators with terrifying auras. In less than 5 breaths of time, the surrounding mountains were razed to the ground. The sounds of battle alerted the Jade Pure Sacred Sect. The elders flew out and looked into the distance nervously. Lu Yuxia was worthy of being a true devil commander. He was indeed far stronger than the three-headed Wirm king. Demonic chi overflowed and covered the sky. It covered a radius of 5 kilometers, suppressing the three-headed Wirm king until he continuously fell. The overbearing demonic chi transformed into pillars that descended from the sky, forcing the three-headed Wirm king to constantly dodge in the ruins. After fighting for a short while, the three-headed Wirm king was already covered in blood. Damn it! The three-headed Wirm king was both shocked and furious. He hadn't expected the other party to be so strong. This was his first battle after joining Han Ju. Was he going to lose? The Wirm roared into the sky and transformed into his true form. A three-headed black-scaled Wirm appeared between heaven and earth. It was thousands of feet long and looked mighty and domineering. Under its 4 claws, it stepped on dragon flames. A pair of fleshy wings grew on its back and spread out for thousands of feet. Lu Yuxia raised his eyebrows and thought to himself, true dragon bloodline. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better experience, he then raised his right hand and pressed down, causing the billowing demonic chi in the sky to transform into a mountain-sized black palm that smashed down. In front of this black palm, the three-headed Wirm king was like a small snake, pressed to the ground, unable to move. "Master! I can't hold on," the three-headed Wirm king hurriedly shouted. The difference in spirit energy was too great, causing him to not even be able to use many mystical powers and spells. Lu Yushue's demonic qi was extremely strange, causing the three-headed Wirm king to be unable to execute his mystical power in the area covered by it. Even his speed was much slower, as if he was carrying a huge mountain on his back. The three-headed Wirm king had never encountered such a terrifying opponent. He was clearly very strong, but from a spectator's point of view, he had no ability to resist. He was like a clumsy beast, not a Mahayana demon king. There are others as well. Lu Yushue's eyes flickered as he thought to himself. Boom, a strong gust of wind suddenly blew over, dissipating the demonic qi filling the sky. Lu Yushue's eyes widened. He turned around and saw a figure speeding over. It was Han Ju. Lu Yushue's soul trembled. Feeling an extremely terrifying danger, he subconsciously took out a black wooden sword and waved it at Han Ju. The moment the wooden sword was raised, Han Ju raised his finger and shot out a sword aura. Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World-Piercing Sword Finger. Lu Yushue couldn't block in time and his body was directly annihilated by the sword qi. In the blink of an eye, Han Ju raised his palm and sucked away Lu Yushue's soul. This was the reason why he came out personally. Otherwise, he could have stood on the Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain and shot at him. Lu Yushue died. The demonic qi in the world dissipated. The black palm suppressing the three-headed Wirm king dissipated as he looked at Han Ju in shock. The high and mighty Han Ju glanced at him and then disappeared. The three-headed Wirm king was extremely ashamed. He wished that he could find a hole to hide in and sleep for another tens of thousands of years. After returning to the cave abode, a line of words appeared in front of Han Ju. The three-headed Wirm king's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 4-5 stars, Han Ju didn't mind. He sat on the bed and opened his right hand. Lu Yushue's soul appeared. Under the constraints of the six paths spirit energy, Lu Yushue couldn't escape. He looked at Han Ju in horror and asked, "You are an immortal. How could a mortal be so powerful?" Han Ju asked expressionlessly, "Why are you here?" Lu Yushue gritted his teeth. "I was just passing by. I didn't intend to harm you." As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying divine sense collided with his soul, causing him to almost scream in pain. "I was sent here by someone because the providence of this place is the highest in the mortal world. I'm also afraid of death. Senior, please spare my life." Lu Yushue gritted his teeth as his soul trembled continuously. Han Ju asked expressionlessly, "Who sent you here?" "The devil. Ancestor." "Devil ancestor? What was the plan?" "Massacre the humans." "He sent you. Are the devils so weak?" Lu Yushue felt insulted, but he had to bow his head. He didn't want to die. He gritted his teeth and said, "The true devils were defeated by the great calamity of the heavenly Tao many eras ago and were sealed in the six paths of reincarnation. We true devils were painstakingly found by the devil race. The devil ancestor bewitched the ghosts on the bridge of forgetfulness and made the ghosts who didn't want to reincarnate become fiendish cultivators until they cultivated to become true devils. There are rules in the mortal world. If existences beyond the Mahayana realm enter without permission, it will alarm the heavenly rules. The heavenly court, the divine palace, and even the Buddhist sect will definitely be furious. The devil ancestor can only send true devils at the 9th level of the Mahayana realm to infiltrate the mortal world." Han Ju raised his eyebrows. A question popped into his mind. Could it be that the devil race and the netherworld don't have heaven-evading stones? This content is taken from Light Novel World. Calm. Senior, as long as you let me go, I won't come again. Senior, as long as you let me go, I won't come again. Lu Yushue gritted his teeth. Han Ju was so powerful that he could only beg for mercy. Damn it! As expected, this mission was not reliable. When Lu Yuxue received the devil ancestor's instructions, his first reaction was that there was a trap. The devil's plan for the mortal world had not started in 1,000 years or 100 years. They had planned for 10,000 years, but they had never succeeded. Indeed, he had just arrived in the mortal world and had already suffered a failure. Lu Yuxue hated the devil ancestor. Was it not comfortable to stay in the netherworld? Why did he have to come to the mortal world to cause trouble? Lu Yuxue has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 1 star. Han Ju narrowed his eyes. 1 star hatred points was actually not too bad. It was far from a situation where they would fight to the death. Han Ju hesitated if he should let him go. Even if he did, he had to imprison his soul. Are there any other true devils stronger than you? Han Ju asked. Lu Yuxue smiled bitterly. No way. I'm the strongest, but I encountered you the first time I attacked. Han Ju retracted his hand and imprisoned Lu Yuxue's soul in the depths of his soul. Perhaps he could use this fellow in the future. Dao Comprehension Sword couldn't help but ask, Master, the devils are attacking. What should we do? Han Ju said calmly, let's wait and see. If we really can't win, we'll run. Outside the cave abode. The three-headed Wirm king slipped back under the fusang tree. He lowered his head, not daring to face the others. The black hell chicken laughed mockingly. Wirm king. We need Master's help, and you also need Master's help. Tell me, what's the difference between us? The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. Calm. The three-headed Wirm king nearly exploded in anger. Fong Liang sighed. That true devil was indeed ridiculously strong. It looked like he was completely overwhelmed, but in fact, the difference in strength was just too great. Hearing this, the three-headed Wirm king became even more depressed. Sun Chang'an took this opportunity to educate Fong Liang. You have to cultivate well. You and your senior brother will be our hope. In the future, we'll still have to rely on you two to resolve Master's troubles. Yang Tiandong, the three-headed Wirm king, the black hell chicken, and the chaotic heavenly dog felt as if they had been imbued with something. Especially the chaotic heavenly dog. Its strength was already at the bottom. Normally, it wouldn't be able to win against anyone. It felt extremely aggrieved. No. I want to surpass them. The two little golden crows lay on the branches of the fusang tree, shaking their heads as they looked at these people. They conversed with each other, their voices sweet like 6 or 7-year-olds. Was that guy strong? I don't feel that he was that strong. Perhaps they are too weak. Probably. A year later. Han Ju successfully grasped the invocation technique. This technique had two components, the main mystical power and sub-mystical power. Someone who learned the sub-mystical power could invoke and summon the person who mastered the main mystical power. Learning the sub-mystical power would only mean mastering the summoning method. Han Ju decided to impart the mystical power to his disciples. This mystical power could only be given to his own disciples and could not be taught to the entire Jade Pure Sacred Sect. Even if it was taught to these closest people, he had to give a different explanation. Han Ju called Dao Comprehension Sword and walked out of the cave abode. He came to the fusang tree and called Su Qi out. The most up-to-date novels are published on Light Novel World. Calm Murong Qi had already returned. He wanted to go out again but was stopped by Han Ju. It was to impart the invocation technique. Apart from the black hell chicken and chaotic heavenly dog, this was the first time the others had seen Su Qi. Fong Liang and Murong Qi were very interested in this mysterious person. A fiendish cultivator, muttered Fong Liang softly. Su Qi smiled calmly. He was very excited. These disciples and juniors were all very talented. Especially Fan Liang and Murong Qi. The cultivation of the third-generation disciples was almost catching up to his, a second-generation disciple. Han Ju said, previously, Su Qi was sent by me to infiltrate the demon-taming sect and had no choice but to become a fiendish cultivator. During the war between the righteous and the demonic, many fiendish cultivators died in his hands. Hearing this, everyone felt deep veneration for Su Qi. Among Han Ju's disciples, no one else was assigned a mission by him. They looked at Su Qi's weathered face again and felt guilty. Han Ju protected them so much, but they often wanted to go out. Han Ju caught everyone's expression and didn't say anything. He had called for Su Qi this time to test him. He wanted to see if the total providence on this mountain could suppress Su Qi's bad luck. Previously, Lu Yuxia had said that the providence here was the highest in the world. As for Du Ku, he wasn't related to Han Ju and was not someone with great luck. It was normal for him to suffer if he dared to spend 5 days alone with Su Qi. I will teach you a technique that can only be used when your life is at stake. Once you use it, you will obtain immense power, but the price will be unimaginable. You will face your worst nightmare, Han Ju said seriously. Everyone looked at each other. Fang Liang asked curiously, is the nightmare an illusion, or is the fear going to turn real? Han Ju said in an unfathomable manner, only you will know if what you are afraid of will come true or not. In short, unless it's absolutely necessary, you must never use this mystical power. However, if it's a matter of life and death, you should still use it. I hope that all of you can live and follow me to pursue the great Tao and enjoy eternal life. His words made everyone's blood boil. Pursue the great Tao together. Enjoy eternal life. Murong Qi clenched his fists and said, I'll definitely cultivate well. In the future, I'll cut down all those who stand in my way. The others also promised. Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience. Sun Chang'an, who had always been a slacker, also revealed a look of anticipation. Golden crows, three-headed, come over and learn together. Han Ju looked to the side and smiled. The three-headed Wirm king, who had been eavesdropping, hurriedly crawled over. The two golden crows flew over and landed on Fang Liang's shoulder. For some reason, they liked Fang Liang and often rubbed against him. The three-headed Wirm king's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 5 stars. Han Ju began to impart the sub-mystical power of the invocation technique. He taught them for 2 months. The invocation technique was very complicated, but Fang Liang, Murong Qi, and Su Qi only took a few days to master it. The slowest to learn were Yang Tiandong and the Black Hell Chicken. They almost felt depressed. The chaotic heavenly dog finally regained some confidence and was overjoyed. Han Ju brought Tao Comprehension Sword back to the cave abode. Su Qi didn't stay any longer. He quickly returned to his cave abode and cultivated in peace. Han Ju used the heavenly puppet to check on Xing Hongxian and the other two. They were still on their way back and had not encountered any true devils. According to Lu Yuxia, the true devil's target was the heavenly immortal manor. It was unknown if the heavenly immortal manor could withstand it. 8 years later, Han Ju was already close to the 9th level of the Mahayana realm. He wanted to reach it in one go. Detected bearer of connate providence, check its origin. Han Ju raised his eyebrows. It had been a long time since he had met a new person with great providence. The previous person was Ji Xianxian, a conceited fool who wanted to be number one in the world. Han Ju immediately chose to check. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better experience. The introduction of the person with the providence popped up in front of him. Han Ju widened his eyes. Not bad at all. Tu Linger, 9th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm, the reincarnation of an ancient Grand Magus. During the Savage Era, both the Magus race and the Demon race fought for the heavenly Tao's hegemony. Both perished and lost the great providence of their race. The Magus race was annihilated, and a few grand magi hid in the 6 paths of reincarnation. Tu Ling'er experienced 10,000 reincarnations and finally washed away the Magus race's negative karma. However, her soul is still the soul of a grand Magus. If she becomes an immortal emperor, she can transform into a grand Magus and gain extreme power. Tu Ling'er is a deacon of the heavenly immortal manor and is here on her master's orders to find Fong Liang. Tu Ling'er, 9th level of the Void Amalgamation Realm, the reincarnation of an ancient Grand Magus. During the Savage Era, both the Magus race and the Demon race fought for the heavenly Tao's hegemony. Both perished and lost the great providence of their race. The Magus race was annihilated, and a few grand magi hid in the 6 paths of reincarnation. Tu Ling'er experienced 10,000 reincarnations and finally washed away the Magus race's negative karma. However, her soul is still the soul of a grand Magus. If she becomes an immortal emperor, she can transform into a grand Magus and gain extreme power. Tu Ling'er is a deacon of the heavenly immortal manor and is here on her master's orders to find Fong Liang. Ancient Grand Magus? Only after reaching the immortal emperor realm could she transform into a grand Magus? How strong was she? Han Ju was secretly shocked. This woman was not simple. However, he noticed that Tu Ling'er had come on the orders of the heavenly immortal manor. She probably had ill intentions. He was very cautious and started the simulation trial with Tu Ling'er. A second later, he laughed at himself. Tu Ling'er only had the background of a Grand Magus and was not a true Grand Magus. Her strength could only match some body integration realm cultivators and was far inferior to him. Han Ju detected that Tu Ling'er had arrived at the foot of the immortal mountain. Fong Liang sensed her aura and personally went down the mountain to see her. "Senior, why are you here?" Fong Liang cupped his fists and asked with an awkward expression. He had nearly forgotten that he was also a disciple of the heavenly immortal manor. Tu Ling'er wore a yellow robe and green clothes. Her hair was tied up under a jade hairpin, and she had a beautiful face. Although she was not extremely beautiful, she still looked stunning with her bearing. Tu Ling'er looked at the mountain and asked, "Fong Liang, what's the origin of this mountain? Why is the spirit qi here so dense?" This was already comparable to the cultivation holy land of the heavenly immortal manor. How could a small place like the Great Yen have such a treasure trove? Fong Liang said awkwardly, "This is my first sect. Why are you looking for me? Didn't I tell the heavenly immortal manor that I won't return again unless the manor is in trouble?" The heavenly immortal manor was not a simple sect. Apart from the disciples that they personally nurtured, they would also teach the disciples from other sects and build a good relationship with them. With your talent, you're comparable to Ji Xianchen. Do you think the heavenly immortal manor is willing to give up on you? I came to look for you this time because we encountered a calamity. Dozens of true devils attacked the heavenly immortal manor, and we've fallen into a fierce battle. My master asked me to look for you, hoping to ask the land deity you mentioned in your letter to help. Is he on the mountain? Tu Ling'er asked casually. Her gaze was fixed on the Fusang tree at the top of the mountain. That tree was not simple. Where did it come from? Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Fong Liang shook his head and said, "The land deity I met was just a stranger. He left a long time ago. There's no mighty figure in the Jade Pure Sacred Sect who can help the heavenly immortal manor." Tu Ling'er smiled and asked, "Does your Jade Pure Sacred Sect still lack elders? I want to cultivate on this mountain. Help me ask." Huh? What? Isn't the heavenly immortal manor in trouble? Senior, aren't you in a hurry? I can't go back because it's in trouble. Didn't you also say that if the heavenly immortal manor is in trouble, you will return? Then, will you return now? Fong Liang was speechless. He thought for a moment and said, wait here. I'll go ask my grandmaster. Tu Linger nodded and sat before the stone tablet at the foot of the mountain. Fang Liang quickly went up the mountain and visited Han Ju. Han Ju let him in for a chat. Fang Liang explained the reason for Tu Linger's visit and then said, Grandmaster, Tu Linger's natural endowment is ranked in the top 10 in the heavenly immortal manner. However, she's famous for being cunning. Now, she's using the mission as an excuse to leave the heavenly immortal manner. This means that she's not a good person. It was obvious that he did not like Tu Linger. However, due to her seniority in the heavenly immortal manner, he had to give her face. Han Ju asked, is she bearing a blood feud? Fang Liang thought for a moment and said, no, she grew up in the heavenly immortal manner. However, she cultivates hard all year round and rarely makes friends. Reject her. All right. Fang Liang left happily. Although Tu Linger's background was impressive, she was already an adult. It wasn't convenient to brainwash her. Furthermore, she was a disciple of the heavenly immortal manner. Han Ju didn't want to cause trouble. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for the best novel reading experience. Then, he started to check the emails. After so many years, the True Devils did not cause too much of a commotion. Without Lu Yushua's leadership, they couldn't even take over the heavenly immortal manor. This surprised Han Ju. The heavenly immortal manor was quite impressive. Your good friend Ji Xianchen was attacked by a true devil, X-145, your good friend Ji Xianchen is severely injured and on the verge of death. Your good friend Ji Lingchan was attacked by a true devil, X4, your good friend Zhou Fan obtained an opportunity and his body transformed. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by a true devil and was severely injured. Your Dao companion Xian Qingjun has comprehended the true meaning of the great Dao. Her cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou was bewitched by the devil race and developed mental demons. Your good friend Ji Xianchen has gained enlightenment of a sacred technique. His essence soul has transformed. Han Ju raised his eyebrows. Even Ji Xianchen was severely injured. It looked like the heavenly immortal manor was indeed in danger. Han Ju hesitated to help. Then, he shook his head. He had already dealt with the true devil commander. If the heavenly immortal manor couldn't even deal with the other true devils, how could they face the devils in the future? Han Ju didn't want the Jade Pure Sacred Sect to be taken over after he left. In addition, Ji Xianchen's epiphany of the sacred technique was clearly a protagonist's event. Perhaps this battle would be the one for Ji Xianchen to rise to the top. Just as Han Ju was thinking, Fang Liang returned. Grandmaster, she refused to leave. She said that she could take you as her master. Fang Liang smiled bitterly. He wasn't Tu Linger's match, so he couldn't force her out. Han Ju said expressionlessly, she can acknowledge me as her master, but she has to kowtow for 10 years first. Fang Liang hesitated when he heard that, but he still went down the mountain to pass the message. Dao Comprehension Sword asked curiously, are you really going to accept her? Han Ju smiled and said, let's see if she's willing to lower her head first. At the foot of the mountain, after hearing Fang Liang's words, Tu Linger directly knelt in front of the stone tablet and began to kowtow. Fang Liang frowned and asked, what's the point? Even if you want to avoid the heavenly immortal manor's calamity, you don't have to do this. As Tu Linger kowtowed, she smiled and said, to be able to make you give up the preferential treatment of the heavenly immortal manor and to be able to nurture such a precious mountain, the master of this mountain must be the land deity you believe in. Fang Liang was silent. There was one more thing Tu Linger did not say. In fact, it was not that the heavenly immortal manor wanted Fang Liang to return. How useful could Fang Liang be to the manor's current calamity? She was the one who took the initiative to look for Fang Liang, using the excuse of gathering the forces outside the manor. 10 years ago, when Tu Linger was cultivating, she would always fall asleep easily. In her dreams, she often saw a mountain with a mysterious figure on it. At first, the dream was blurry, but later, it became clearer. She knew that Fang Liang, who she had interacted with before, was kneeling in front of the mysterious figure. She knew that he was related to Fang Liang. Tu Linger always believed in her dreams. Ever since she was young, she had even comprehended mystical powers in her dreams. This was also the reason why she became a genius of the heavenly immortal manner. When Han Ju asked her to kowtow for 10 years, her first reaction was not anger but relief. The other party spoke so arrogantly. He must be a mighty figure. I knew it. The dream realm guided her towards the fortuitous opportunity again. Follow new episodes on the light novel world. Com platform. Seeing that she was determined, Fang Liang did not continue persuading her. He turned around and left, preparing to return to his residence to continue cultivating. Tu Linger's arrival didn't attract too much attention from Han Ju. He continued cultivating and strove to reach the 9th level of the Mahayana realm as soon as possible. Tu Linger's arrival didn't attract too much attention from Han Ju. He continued cultivating and strove to reach the 9th level of the Mahayana realm as soon as possible. Time passed. While the world changed outside, to the ascetics, time seemed to stop flowing. Xing Hongxian, Chang Yuer, and Fairy Shi Xian had already returned. However, when they heard that Han Ju was in seclusion, they didn't disturb him. 7 years passed quickly. Han Ju finally broke through to the 9th level of the Mahayana realm. The peak of the mortal world. After breaking through, the spirit energy in Han Ju's body soared. He didn't stop. Instead, he continued to cultivate and raised his spirit energy to a state where it could no longer increase. 3 years later. Han Ju asked Dao Comprehension Sword to bring Tu Linger up the mountain. He wanted her to cultivate under the Fusang tree first. He would talk about the master-disciple matter in the future. After Tu Linger entered the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal mountain, she discovered that the spirit chi inside was even richer than what she had felt at the foot of the mountain. Is there a powerful and invisible barrier around this mountain? Tu Linger was secretly shocked and became even more curious about Han Ju. She came to the Fusang tree. Yang Tiandong, Sun Chang'an, Murong Chi, the chaotic heavenly dog, the black hell chicken, the 2 little golden crows, and the 3-headed Wirm king all looked at her. Tu Linger's gaze landed on the Fusang tree. This is. Tu Linger was in a daze. When she saw the Fusang tree, she became inexplicably distracted. Dao Comprehension Sword said, cultivate here first. Don't make too much noise. Tu Linger came back to her senses and hurriedly nodded. The others did not talk to her and continued cultivating. Although Tu Linger had many doubts, she still suppressed them in her mind and obediently began to meditate and cultivate. For some reason, she felt that these people were not simple. For more, visit Light Novel World. She couldn't help but think of the geniuses in the heavenly immortal manner. Half a year later. Han Ju finally raised his cultivation level to the perfected 9th level of the Mahayana realm. Your cultivation has reached the peak of the mortal world. You have the following choices: 1. Immediately ascend and become an immortal. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance and a numinous treasure. 2. Don't ascend for the time being. Continue to stay in the mortal world and you can obtain a supreme treasure. Han Ju chose the second option without hesitation. You chose not to ascend for the time being and obtained a supreme treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the Grand Unity Supreme Treasure, 9-5 Supreme Providence Robe, 9-5 Supreme Providence Robe, Defensive Grand Unity Supreme Treasure. It's a supreme treasure refined from the providence of an emperor. Its defense is extremely strong. After wearing it, you will obtain the aura of an emperor. Defensive Grand Unity Supreme Treasure. Defensive. Han Ju was pleasantly surprised. This was too good. System, awesome job as usual. Han Ju took out the 9-5 Supreme Providence robe. It was a mighty and domineering dragon-patterned golden robe. Golden light shone in the cave abode. Dao Comprehension Sword opened her eyes and looked surprised. This was too high profile. Han Ju frowned. However, on second thought, he hid in the cave abode every day. He wasn't afraid of being high profile. He immediately began to make the 9-5 Supreme Providence robe recognize him as its master. 2 days later, the Grand Unity Supreme Treasure recognized him as its master. It was indeed a treasure. Han Ju wore the 9-5 Supreme Providence robe, feeling much safer. He originally wanted to wear the nice 5 robe on top of the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe, but it was extremely uncomfortable, so he could only take it off. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better experience, Master, can you give me this robe? Dao Comprehension Sword pointed at the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe on the table and asked with great desire. Han Ju said, "You're not going outside. You don't need to wear the numinous treasure robe. But Master, you're not going out either. If I die, you won't be able to escape death. So, I have to wear it." Dao Comprehension Sword curled her lips, feeling wronged. Han Ju wanted to give the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe to Xing Hongxian, but on second thought, the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe was also high profile. If Xing Hongxian wore it, it might attract even more trouble. "Fine, I'll give it to you. After you wear it, go outside. I want to break through. I'm afraid the commotion will kill you." Han Ju waved his hand. Dao Comprehension Sword looked over in surprise and hurriedly thanked him before wearing the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe. Han Ju was speechless. This girl actually undressed in front of him. Although he had already seen it before, she was still too unashamed. Han Ju frowned and said, "You can't take off your clothes in front of others in the future." Dao Comprehension Sword happily sized up the Golden Cicada's Mystic Divine robe and replied, "There are differences between men and women. I understand that. I will only change in front of Master." With that, she quickly left to boast to Yang Tiandong, Sun Chang'an, and the others. Han Ju shook his head and laughed. Then, he perked up and prepared to break through. He raised his hand and sucked the heaven-evading stone into his palm. He placed the stone by his leg and muttered, "It's all up to you now." If Han Ju could surpass the cultivation limit in the mortal world and stay here, that would be perfect. Han Ju began to cultivate the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. After comprehending the mortal world cultivation chapter, he would be able to comprehend a cultivation method of a higher realm. Under the Fusang tree. The moment Dao Comprehension Sword appeared, the atmosphere under the tree became lively. Fong Liang, who was meditating, opened his eyes and glanced at Tu Linger. He asked, "Are you still returning to the heavenly immortal manor in the future?" The source of this content is Light Novel World. Tu Linger didn't even open her eyes as she replied, "Why should I go back? This place is quite good. It's isolated from the world and I can cultivate in peace. I don't want to go back and suffer." Fong Liang was speechless. The heavenly immortal manor raised such an ingrate. It was still fine for him. After all, he wasn't a disciple of the heavenly immortal manor. In any case, he had also carried out missions for the manor. However, Tu Linger was a genius specially nurtured by the heavenly immortal manor. Since she was young, she only needed to cultivate and not go out. In other words, she had yet to contribute to the manor. When your cultivation improves in the future, you won't betray my grandmaster, right? Fong Liang asked warily. The others also looked at her. Tu Linger finally opened her eyes and retorted angrily, "What do you mean by betray? Although I've left the heavenly immortal manor, I'm not their enemy. What kind of betrayal is that? Besides, isn't this place the immortal mountain of cultivation? Isn't cultivating diligently the greatest consolation to Master? Now, even if the elders of the heavenly immortal manor personally came to force her to return, she would not. The spirit qi under the Fusang tree was too dense. Tu Linger couldn't bear to leave. Boom! Thunder rumbled in the sky. Everyone turned their heads and saw rolling dark clouds. There was no demonic aura or demonic qi. It seemed like a storm was coming. Tu Linger frowned and muttered, "That fellow finally succeeded." Fang Liang asked curiously, "Who succeeded?" "Ji Xianshen, the number one prodigy of the heavenly immortal manor. You haven't seen this person before, but his talent is definitely the number one in the world." A complicated expression appeared in Tu Linger's eyes. Being of the same generation as Ji Xianshen was the sorrow of these geniuses. Fang Liang's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. He had also heard of Ji Xianshen. One day, he would prove to the world who was the number one prodigy in the world. He wanted to win honor for his grandmaster. Murong Qi, Sun Chang'an, and the others had also heard of Ji Xianshen. When they heard the conversation between Fang Liang and Tu Linger, they couldn't help but be even more curious about him. There's no need to worry about the heavenly immortal manor. This tribulation will definitely be resolved. Tu Linger closed her eyes and smiled. Fang Liang asked in surprise, "Just because of Ji Xianshen? He alone can resolve the heavenly immortal manor's calamity." Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel reading experience. Yes, I'm afraid no mortal in this world is his match. He's no match for my grandmaster. Isn't your grandmaster a land deity? He's no mortal. Inside the Khanate Cave Abode. Inside the Khanate Cave Abode. After completing the Mortal Realm Cultivation chapter of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation technique, Han Ju finally comprehended a higher-level cultivation technique. There were 6 realms above his current cultivation level. Loose Immortal, Earth Immortal, Heaven Immortal, True Immortal, Mystic Immortal, Golden Immortal. Excited, Han Ju started to break through to the Loose Immortal realm. Daoist Jian was also a Loose Immortal. When he reached the Loose Immortal realm, how could he not instantly kill the other party? There was also the Vermilion Bird. It was only an Earth Immortal. Han Ju suddenly felt that these two enemies were not that strong. At least, he could see the hope of surpassing them. Han Ju stopped thinking and focused on breaking through. With his potential, breaking through wouldn't take too long. In the dark cave abode. Patriarch Blood Fiend, White-Haired Fiend Lady, and Fiendish Arhat gathered again. Fiendish Arhat clenched his fists and cursed. When will Daoist Jian be willing to come down? The true devils of the devil race have not attacked the heavenly immortal manor for 10 years. It's said that Ji Xianshen learned the strongest sacred technique in the heavenly immortal manor. No one has managed to learn it for 10,000 years. He's already invincible. What awaits us is a dead end. Patriarch Blood Fiend's expression darkened. White-Haired Fiend Lady gritted her teeth and said, "I don't care anymore. I want to ascend." Fiendish Arhat nodded. He didn't want to wait any longer. But if we ascend now, won't we be attacked by the righteous path? Patriarch Blood Fiend hesitated. Fiendish Arhat cursed. Patriarch Blood Fiend, are you being silly? How can they have the time to care about us when true devils are attacking the heavenly immortal manor? It's fine if you don't ascend. Be careful not to regret it in the future. With that said, he and the white-haired fiend lady stood up and left. Patriarch Blood Fiend's expression changed. After Fiendish Arhat and white-haired fiend lady's auras faded away, Patriarch Blood Fiend took out a crystal ball and asked softly, "Senior, how much longer?" He didn't receive a reply and continued to wait. After a long time, a weak voice came from the crystal ball, "Don't be anxious, cough cough. Soon." His heart skipped a beat as he asked, "Are you injured?" "No, something went wrong with my cultivation. I'm waiting for a senior from the heavenly court. Don't worry. As long as you're obedient, I'll take care of you after you ascend. I won't let you wander around. Patriarch Blood Fiend suppressed his surprise and said, the devil race sent true devils to attack, but they can't defeat the heavenly immortal manor. I'm afraid. The heavenly immortal manor is useless. Continue to urge the devil race to send more true devils. Remember, don't participate. You only need to persuade them. If you're also involved, I won't be able to protect you. I understand. Then, Senior, can you give me a time? I'm afraid I can't hold on. 100 years at most, okay? 100 years. I'll try my best to be faster, Thank you, Senior. 2 years later. The Khanate cave abode shook violently, causing the entire Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain to shake. Under the Fusang tree, Fang Liang, Sun Chang'an, and the others turned their heads to look. Li Qingzi, Fairy Shi Xian, Xing Hongxian, and Chang Yuer, who were cultivating, were also alarmed and walked out of their cave abodes. They went to the top of the mountain and gathered with the others. What's happening? It's Master's cave abode. Master is breaking through. This has never happened before. This is the first time, right? What realm is Grandmaster at now? If he breaks through, he has to undergo tribulation. Why is he always in the cave abode? Everyone discussed. Li Qingzi said, Elder Han knows how to transcend the tribulation. Previously, I even led him to a good location to transcend the tribulation. This time, he must have comprehended some mystical power. Xing Hongxian smiled proudly. My husband is so powerful. Husband? Tu Ling'er couldn't help but look at her as she thought, this is Master's wife. Dao Comprehension Sword and Chang Yuer glanced at Xing Hongxian meaningfully. The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World. Com website. At the same time. Inside the Khanate cave abode. Han Ju succeeded in breaking through. The six-path spirit energy in his body transformed into dermic powers and continued to grow. Congratulations on becoming a reincarnation loose immortal. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately ascend and enjoy the baptism of the heavenly Tao. You can obtain a supreme treasure and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. 2. Don't ascend for the time being and stay in the mortal world. You can obtain a supreme treasure. 3 lines of words appeared in front of Han Ju. He directly chose the second option. Since there was no heavenly tribulation and he was not expelled by the heavenly Tao, why did he have to ascend? Unless the heavenly court really wanted to destroy the world, he would stay here and cultivate on this cultivate diligently become immortal mountain. Han Ju set a goal for himself. He would only ascend when he was no longer afraid of the vermilion bird. You chose not to ascend for the time being and obtained a supreme treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the Grand Unity Supreme Treasure, Grand Imperial Phoenix Wings Crown, Grand Imperial Phoenix Wings Crown, Defensive Grand Unity Supreme Treasure. A crown refined from the aura of a Grand Emperor and the wings of a phoenix. Its defense is extremely strong. Defensive Supreme Treasure. Nice. Han Ju was in a good mood. He continued to consolidate his cultivation. The dermic powers in his body circulated along with the 6 paths of reincarnation technique and rapidly increased. Somehow, Han Ju felt much less constrained. It was as if the world could no longer stop him. He could jump out of the mortal world with one leap. This feeling was too wonderful. After consolidating his cultivation with his body, Han Ju's essence soul left his body. He quickly jumped out of the cave abode and arrived on the cultivate diligently become immortal mountain. He looked down and saw shadows above his disciples. There was a ball of qi above Fang Liang's head. There was a ginseng above Sun Chang'an's head. A divine figure floated above Murong Qi's head. He wore armor and looked mighty and domineering. A black phoenix floated above the head of the black hell chicken. It was completely different from its body. It could even be said to be worlds apart. Han Ju's gaze landed on Tu Linger. Grand Magus. Updated from Light Novel World. Tu Linger was pretty and could be considered a beauty, but the Grand Magus looked extremely sinister. It had a human body in a beast head, looking very ferocious. So terrifying. When Han Ju stared at the soul of the Grand Magus above Tu Linger, it suddenly looked up at him with its snake-like eyes. Their eyes met, and Han Ju felt very uncomfortable. No. This fellow is a little dangerous. He had to send it away. The soul of the Grand Magus opened its mouth to Han Ju. There was no sound, but Han Ju could sense what it was saying. Save me. Han Ju was puzzled. Why did it need to be saved? He didn't think too much and grasped the feeling of breaking through. Han Ju continued to rise into the sky. The mountains and rivers shrank rapidly in his eyes. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the top of the sky. Above him was the endless sea of stars. This time, Han Ju felt that he could easily skip the resplendent galaxy and fly to the upper world. But he didn't. He was afraid that the vermilion bird was waiting for him. Therefore, Han Ju's essence soul rushed towards the ground. His eyes focused, and he directly jumped out of the mortal world and came to the netherworld. He felt the familiar darkness and the familiar chi of reincarnation. Fortunately, there was no yellow spring nearby and no bridge of forgetfulness. Han Ju spread his divine sense. There were no living beings in a radius of 10,000 miles. His essence soul began to enjoy the baptism of the chi of reincarnation. During this process, the strength of his essence soul rapidly increased. You're here again. A hoarse voice sounded. Han Ju was shocked. Wasn't this the voice that the heavenly puppet had encountered? He subconsciously wanted to run. Wait, I won't harm you. Han Ju calmed down after hearing this. Thinking about it carefully, he seemed to have overreacted earlier. The other party indeed had no intention of killing him. There's actually such a genius like you. You surpassed all living beings in the mortal world before reaching 800 years of age. Yet, you didn't transcend the tribulation and become a loose immortal. You can freely come and go between the two worlds. Perhaps, you are the person I've been waiting for. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover new novels. Read at Wuxia World. EU. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.